from the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. Direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, here are the hosts of Balloon Fiesta Live, Glen Moyer and Lloyd Jr.
And good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is day 3. It's Monday at the 49th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We are live on Balloon Fiesta Live once again. And on the PA here on the field, as you can hear, I'm Glen Moyer. Beside me, as always, our executive producer and good friend, Lloyd Jr. Good morning, Art.
Good morning. It's going to be another great day here at Balloon Fiesta.
It looks like it is. Maybe a little bit of speed at altitude this morning, so the balloons maybe having a pretty nice little clip getting out of the field.
They could.
But should be fun.
Yes. Competition day. Haven't heard yet exactly what competition they're going to call. Pilot's briefing is just about to start.
Yeah, I noticed in the open they were showing some of the video from the Sid Cutter Memorial task. And
yes.
we're expecting that might be on tap today, but we'll wait and see.
We should mention Balloon Fiesta Live is powered by ExxonMobil.
Indeed.
And there's a great shot of the Balloon Museum, and that's going to be, those folks over there this morning are going to have a great view because the direction is definitely to the south.
Absolutely. They'll be flying right into their face. They'll be face to face with some of those pilots as they go over the museum. And of course, the museum, a place that you should visit anyway, whether you're there to see the balloon inflations and launches during Fiesta or after hours. It's a great place to go and see some of the amazing collection of aircraft they have there, the interactive exhibits. The Federation Aeronautique International's Hall of Fame is located there. And brand new this year, an incredible painting called Magic that is just massive that was done by local artist Jane McLean. So lots to see.
Yeah, hi to the folks over at the museum. I think they're watching us. We are on a low-power TV station, channel 28, and they can pick that up over there. We are also on
20.2. Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, call letters KNMQ, and they're picking up the channel 28 signal and rebroadcasting it across the entire Albuquerque metro area, greater Albuquerque metro area.
Right.
Because it goes up nearly to Santa Fe, out to Laguna, down towards Belen. So, and they actually, both channel 28 and 20.2 actually have a 24/7 loop on. So there's lots of great information about Balloon Fiesta. And then not only our live Balloon Fiesta Live shows, but our previous shows as well. So earlier this morning, we were running last night's Glow, and so we have like the last 2 shows, I think, in the loop.
Okay, very good. So you can catch up if you've missed anything along the way.
And then we have all our other folks that are watching online because we are on Facebook and we are on YouTube.
Yeah, I was trying to get onto the Facebook feed, but the one that's, at least maybe it needs to just update because I was seeing last night's fireworks. I still am. Not sure why that's happening.
Well, let's see. Where's
I'm looking at it on Fiesta's Facebook page.
I have it's there live.
Is it? Okay.
Yep,
Well, maybe
it's live.
I just need to refresh then, probably.
My good friend Orley's already liked the show. So,
well, good.
But yeah, on tap today, competition. So the game plan here is kind of a little bit of everything, if you will. We do expect a Dawn Patrol launch, not the show, just a number of balloons that will launch for Dawn Patrol.
Well, we had a shot a few moments ago, and I saw that some of the
actually they are out there.
Some of the balloons are
actually
inflating.
now looking out, I see them.
I think I saw D3, the Stars and Stripes balloon. Isn't that
Tim Taylor?
Yeah, isn't that Tim Taylor with D3?
And that looks like Gesterone Wines. I see somebody with their flashlight on out there on one of those. So we will have some Dawn Patrol balloons up shortly. And then as we get the balloon of the day and get that started with the national anthem between 6:45 and 7 o'clock, we'll have about half of the balloons launch from the field, just like in a mass ascension.
Just like a mass ascension, yes.
But it's only about half of them because the other half...
Well, but half at Fiesta is still a mass ascension.
It's still in anywhere else.
For any other event. So
it's still 250 balloons. Yes, exactly. So, For us, it's kind of a half Ascension, but it's definitely more than you would see anywhere else.
Right,
so it's
sure.
still a great show. The other half of the balloons will be leaving the field, finding a launch site, and attempting to.
And by leaving, you mean the vehicles
will leave. Yes.
Leave.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
the balloons
Pack it
leaving,
up and go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, balloons fly away, trucks leave, but okay.
Right. Yeah.
We can go there.
Well, I was just saying, you didn't want it to make people think half the balloons were flying away and then coming back or something. They actually,
Or just going home for the week.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not doing that.
Though their chase crews and their vehicles will drive off field to go find a launch site somewhere else, and then they will fly into the field to start competition today.
Start competition. So kind of a double ascension, if you will. One from the field flying away, just like we've seen in mass ascensions. The other launching somewhere else and flying into the field. Yeah, now they're starting to actually light up the, put some heat into the Dawn Patrol balloons. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5 of them out there. Yeah, there's Tim Taylor. And, yep, I see Jester unwinds.
I'm still seeing fireworks. I don't understand what's happening. Why am I not seeing the live feed on?
I don't know. Actually, my Facebook, yeah.
I'll try it on the iPad, see if I can get anything different there. But that's kind of strange that I'm seeing last night's feed.
There was some folks on our feed comments that were saying it seemed like the YouTube video was a little bit better, a little cleaner than the Facebook ones. We're sending the exact same signal to both places over the exact same internet. So something on the other ends, the big computers in the sky, the cloud, if you will.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I was talking down to the truck and didn't realize that I was talking to everybody when I said that.
Yeah, so there seems to be, there could be some issue there in how it gets encoded on the other end. But that's why we put the signal up in lots of places. So that you can, if it for some reason isn't working with your device or something on the other end, we've got it in lots of places. Switch over from Facebook to YouTube or back, vice versa, whichever one's working best for you.
Right.
It's exactly the same content that we're sending up there.
Yeah, it's not like we're sending out multiple feeds to different social media, et cetera. It's all the same thing.
We're just sending it to multiple places.
Just depends on how they are receiving it and then sharing it on beyond there. You know, we've talked a bit this week about the fact that we don't have a lot of our international visitors here with us because of travel restrictions.
Yes.
With COVID and things of that nature. We do have several who have managed to make it here, and we will have I guess an abbreviated Flight of the Nations on Wednesday. But Dave Turley just sent me a message, says, hey, Glenn, could you please give a shout out to the Fresh Air Balloon team from England? So shout out to the Fresh Air Balloon team from England.
Shout, shout, shout.
Shout, shout, shout. Twist and shout. So there you go. We do have some international folks here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just checking in on some of it. Yep. So we've got some folks in Santa Fe. We've got folks in Virginia, Louisiana, all checking in this morning. The Netherlands, Ohio. And it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the Netherlands, so tea time. Well, tea time is more like 4, isn't it, over there?
Well, it depends because there was a discussion about that recently on social media. And the first time I was in the UK, I was surprised. I was listening to a disc jockey on Scottish radio, and he was asking people, well, call in and tell us what you're having for tea. What are you having for tea? And they'd call in and say, oh, I'm having a Cobb salad, or I'm having, a roasted chicken with this or that.
Uh-huh.
So it's sort of old-fashioned, but they often refer to tea often refers to what we would call dinner or supper, depending on where you're from over here.
Got it.
We think of tea time as being about mid-afternoon when you have, when you have high tea, which is the cute little sandwiches and the scones and
you hold your little finger out.
And you hold your little finger out, and you have a cup of tea or a cuppa. But tea over there, tea time, can in fact mean like dinner time. So it's not that over there just yet, but yeah, it is, according to my watch.
Topeka, Kansas is awake with us this morning.
10 minutes after 1 over in the UK, if I have my watch set correctly.
We're also hearing from the Gulf Shores, Colorado Springs. Eli, sorry you had to go home. Glad you were here this weekend anyway. Glad you can join us online. And we have lots of folks on.
There it is. Yay.
You get it? Okay.
Yep, got it.
Yeah, all right.
Somebody check it in from Philly, the Netherlands. It's 3 p.m. in the Netherlands. Destin, Florida, going to be here on Thursday. Well, hurry up, Nicole. Get on the road, girl.
Yeah. Come on out. Join the other tens of thousands of people who are here.
Yeah, we've still got room. We can squeeze 1 or 2 more people in.
Yeah, look at all the room there. So look, and how friendly everyone is. Just kind of waving away.
They're waving and saying, hello, come on down to Albuquerque.
We've got a couple of really nice large video boards on either side of the main stage. Yep, and there they are waving. Good morning. Good morning.
We see you.
Yes, we do. There you go.
I see you.
Yeah. So sunrise this morning is actually at 7:02. We actually do have permission to go airborne before 7:02. Not the Dawn Patrol folks. They still have to fly with lights and all that kind of stuff ahead of time and have the required currencies to be able to do that. In other words, they have to take in certain flights to be able to do that. The rest of our balloons, we can go up a little bit before sunrise, and we usually get our balloon of the day up between 6:45 and 7 a.m. So there's flying Oasis right in the middle of the picture.
Right.
And the red, white, and blue one is that's D3.
D3, Tim Taylor. And I think one of those, is that Rick Jones right there that's glowing on the
I think that is.
far right?
And I think the left, the far left one, I think might be Chuck Schick.
It might be. And Rick, if you are out there, congratulations. We heard that you did a thing during the pandemic. Rick got married. So congratulations, my friend.
It looks like they're actually coordinating some little glows among
it does
themselves. I
look
guess
like
I
it,
should turn the radio on and listen.
Maybe you could hear that.
And hear what they're doing out there.
Yeah, I'll have to check with Rick because apparently my invitation to the wedding got lost in the mail.
It was a victim of COVID.
Yeah. Do we have any of our backstage crew with us this morning? I could steal a bottle of water if anybody's listening back there. Bit of a frog in the throat this morning, unfortunately.
We got you one coming.
Yeah, our crack production assistant will get onto that. Thank you.
He like everybody else, is just having a great time out here watching the balloons.
Yeah.
Is everybody ready to fly?
So now I have the radio up so we can hear what's going on there.
I forget, I need to mute my mic. Apologies for that if you heard me sipping a bit of water.
And then we'll start our launch. 3, 2, 1, all burn.
They're looking good out there.
Yeah.
Let's rock this joint.
I agree.
Nothing like putting an open mic on the radio and the PA and sending it around the world, right?
Yeah, well, you're the executive producer, so it's on your head.
Yep.
All I'm doing is sipping water on an open mic.
Launch from the ends first. Dawn Patrol, get buoyant, please.
Dawn announced to Dawn Patrol, we're listening in on your radio. Have a great flight this morning.
That, thank you so much.
So pilots are at pilot briefing this morning, and we have our camera out there. We're kind of waiting for them to get past all the housekeeping stuff, and when they get kind of to the weather, we're going to join in. There's a view from the pilot tower. That's Henry Rosenbaum, our balloon meister.
We should hear him do Pilot of the Day. I mean, we should recognize that person.
That's usually way at the end of things.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of different housekeeping things that they go through, kind of how yesterday went, what's different today, what to expect. And I think probably some extra reminders since it's been 2 years since we've done this. And so trying to make sure everybody remembers everything that they need to keep in mind when they're flying, in addition to flying the balloon.
And speaking of flying, our Dawn Patrol is getting everyone now.
Auburn in 3, 2, 1. Auburn.
So on Mass Ascension days, which are the weekends and Wednesday, we do the Dawn Patrol show where we coordinate this with about 12 balloons. It's fully announced, and sometimes we have some music with it, and very coordinated, et cetera. What's been happening for the last couple of fiestas is that about half the Dawn Patrol team has started putting their own little show on the other days, and that's what we're seeing this morning.
Right. But when you say fully announced, does that mean that some things are only half announced?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Consider who's announcing it. No, it's scripted, and you know what I mean. It's all scripted out. I mean, they wait to do the commands until we tell them.
Yeah, they take their cues
script.
from us. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I was just.
You're just giving me grief again this morning.
That's right.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's my goal in life, is to give you as much grief as possible. You want to be executive producer, you got to take the hits that come with it, buddy.
Okay. Just remember that when it comes up with contract negotiations.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm putting that in the notes.
It was funny because that comment caught my attention because I had posted in a voiceover Facebook group that I'm part of about us doing Balloon Fiesta Live.
Yeah.
And that it's a different style of voiceover, if you will, and it's totally ad-libbed and unscripted. And then I realized anybody in that group who tuned in, the first thing they were going to hear was the Dawn Patrol show, which is scripted.
Which is scripted.
So, well, but most of the time, as you can tell, we are ad-lib up here. Yes, the crowd's going wild.
3, 2, 1. Auburn.
Well, like you, I spent a number of years in radio and television. And television, very scripted.
Yes.
Radio, somewhat scripted.
Yeah, I did both disc jockey and news news
Right.
is certainly scripted. You have
Yes.
a news report to read. Being a disc jockey is a whole lot more ad-lib. You do have occasionally some scripted items to take care of.
Right,
But
the sponsor spots, those kinds of things.
Right, those kinds of things. You know, the spots that you end up reading as opposed to them being recorded. But most of it is ad-lib,
So that's where we come in here. We sit here without a script other than the Dawn Patrol show.
Yeah.
And very few notes, a lot off the top of our head, or out of thin air sometimes.
Wherever else we can find it, yeah.
Things that just kind of fall out of our mouth.
Yeah, the other thing I did a lot of was live reporting, and I'm sure you probably did too, because anyone who has a gift of being able to ad-lib accurately and steadily is usually involved in some live reporting.
Well, I did talk radio for a number of years as well, and Sunday morning, 8 to 10, me and the telephones.
Yeah.
And if no one calls, it's me and the microphone.
Hey, Mark Passan has checked in from over the UK. Good morning,
hi,
Mark.
Mark.
Mark is quite an artist, and some years ago was the artist who produced a series of our Special Shapes Rodeo posters, many of which I have at home. And always good to see Mark. Hoping he'll be back with us here next year for our 50th. We're expecting a real family reunion next year. Jill Kramer is back to doing the flame emojis on the Allburns the Dawn Patrol is doing. That started last night as we were doing our glow. There was a gentleman.
And that's something you would not have scripted.
No, you certainly wouldn't have scripted that. But there was a gentleman on who was watching online, and in all the online comments, whenever we did an Allburn, instead of commenting about, oh, that's beautiful, whatever, he just lit up with a bunch of flame emojis. And so that kind of caught on last night and became a new thing.
Right. So we had all burns on the field, we had all cell phone glows on the field, and we had all emoji flames online.
All emoji flames, so it became quite a thing.
Is definitely heading south.
So we have got to Brad T. Meyer's weather at Pilot's Briefing, so let's
go
listen
there.
in.
and is working its way down into our area. Here's where we're looking at the current conditions. All right, so at Albuquerque Sunport, temperature is 53 degrees, dew point 39, relative humidity 58%. Barometric pressure is 30.30 inches of mercury, and the wind is 360 at 6 knots. At Double Eagle, the temperature is 45 degrees, dew point 39, relative humidity 81%. Barometric pressure is 30.32 inches of mercury, and at Double Eagle, they were reporting a calm wind. You can see that in general on this chart here that we're running generally in temperatures right around 50 degrees, give or take a degree or two. And there is an inversion this morning, probably up to around 55 to 60 degrees or so is kind of what we're seeing. Probably the biggest concern for this morning is going to be this area right on the low portion of the profiler. You can see that in the lowest 500 feet or so that we are seeing some fairly strong winds in that drainage, up to about 15 knots or so. And so that's going to be something that we're going to continue to monitor through the morning. The expectation is that once you get above about 1,500 feet, though, the wind will switch more out of the west and be fairly light, and that will hold through the morning. The biggest issue is going to be this near surface layer, and how it behaves here over the next few hours. With our profiler information, here's the latest information. You can see that, like I said, we're running right around 15 knots at 250, 500 feet, all out of the northeast, so that's all drainage. And then it starts to moderate, and by the time you get to around 1,000 feet, it's much lighter, still out of the north or maybe even northeast by the time you get there. And then once you get above about 2,000 feet, that's where it switches out of the west, but it's fairly light in general, right around 3 to 5 knots, and that's where we expect it to stay. So for the most part, what we're going to kind of continue to watch is that speed layer. We're hoping that it's going to moderate through the flight window this morning, but we're going to continue to monitor trends and keep you updated via Remind on the latest information with this drainage in the near surface layer. Okay. With that, I have Max Walter, who's going to help me with the launch this morning. Do we have any launch directors in the area to let Max do his launch? And while you guys are watching that quickly, I forgot to give you guys the TAFs. So for the TAF for Albuquerque Sunport, wind was 010 at 6 knots. Visibility greater than 6 miles, view 25,000. At 11 a.m., they have variable winds at 6 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, and scattered 25,000. Double Eagle is similar, wind out of the northwest at 5 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, view 25,000. And then after 9 a.m., going variable at 6 knots, visibility greater than 6 miles, and scattered clouds at 25,000. So the expectation is there that these winds are going to moderate. We're just going to kind of continue to monitor and see how it goes here over the next hour or so.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brad. For what we're all here for today's event, the national anthem is scheduled to go off at 7 o'clock even. The balloon of the day is Oxy, and that's being flown by Matt Hurst. Today is day 1 of competition. The competitors will be flying in. You must be 1 mile out, 1 mile, and we will be doing the Sid Cutter Memorial. I'll give you a diagram in just a second. We're going to use the Remind system and the Balloonmeister frequency to start the competition. We will let you know at the 7:30 mark when if we're going to open the field at that point, and when the scoring window will open and close. Here's what I anticipate. At 7:30, you will be notified that the field is open and that we will start scoring at 8 o'clock and scoring will end at 9:30. That's our prescribed timelines. But if for some reason we see some winds that we don't like or we need more time on the field to clear the field, then I'll make some adjustments on the call. But you're not clear to launch until you get that okay or a message that we've canceled for some reason, either by the Balloonmeister frequency and on the Remind system. And we'll also put that on the weather loop, but that only updates every 15 minutes. You can use any color, but please don't use either the red or the orange marker that's in your bag. You've got 2 of those colors, and we'll use those later in the week for some double drops. So any color. And if you don't have your baggies as a competitor, see the scoring at the base of the tower. Non-competitors, there's only 1 wave this morning. We need to do our best to clear the field, especially in the areas that's west of the row 3 and west, because that's the whole area for the scoring area, or what we flag off and allow pilots to land that are coming in. For the competitors, here's your diagram of the Sid Cutter Memorial, what it should look like in concept. It's not to scale, obviously, but there'll be a larger, and there's limited scoring area within a 300-foot radius. The best scores are in this shaded area, and there'll be a larger area on the north side. And if you really feel good about yourself, you can go to the X and try to score inside the boat. Whether it's inside the boat or on the bow, it will be a score. It'll be marked. If you miss the boat, then you've got 2 other smaller areas that will be downwind or south that you can still score in. That's your best scoring area. But in order to get more scores into the system, that 300-foot scoring area, we will still score any baggie that's sitting on the ground outside those shaded areas, but we're going to add 300 feet to your score. So if you go dead center on the X and you're a foot away, you're now 301 feet away. So don't think the X is going to give you the best score. You got to get into the shaded areas or the boat for the best score. And we did this last year, and what we saw is we had a lot of scores just because of people that, I think I can make that boat, and they don't make the boat, but they still get a score. All right, the scoring area will be flagged off in this area that's outlined by the red, and that's the flagging area. That is not only the scoring area, but some area for landing. The actual scoring area is this yellow highlighted area, and it's really identified in the air as you're coming in by the hard surface roads that go east and west, south, and then the north side there. So anything in between those 2 roads are the scoring area. If you go south of that hard surface road, but you're still inside the flagging area, that's a free space for you to land. There will be no vehicles, no people, other than some safety officials. You are free to land, and that's where we want you to land. And as soon as you land, lay down, get your crew in there to help pack up, and then when we can get your crew in there, chase vehicle-wise, we'll get you in there. But we've got a field set up either on the north side of the scoring area or the south side. Anticipate the south side being the busy area. If conditions will allow, meaning the winds and we don't have as many people in the areas outside the flagging area, again on the north and south of those 2 flagging areas, we will also let you land. I don't anticipate this, but in the past, we have sometimes allowed people to land on the east side. But today, we may still have balloons static on the east side of row 3 and east, and that's where most of the congestion is with the folks. So it may be an option. Again, as you're coming in, listen to that Balloon Meister frequency, and we will make those audible calls routinely. Just a reminder on the altitude limits here. Please look at your map, know where you are with your moving map. Fiesta has worked very hard with the FAA to give us we have very nice lower altitude limits as we come into this field.
So we've been listening to the pilot briefing with Balloon Meister Henry Rosenbaum. Got a lot of great information there from weather guy Brad Meyer, talking about something called the wind profiler. And I thought we should point what that is. That is a wind radar system that we actually have here in Albuquerque all year round. It's typically out at Double Eagle Airport, which is a general aviation airport on the west side of town. During Balloon Fiesta, we actually bring it in. It's on the northwest corner of this field. And it does radar up and down to detect the speed and direction of the winds.
Right.
And so he was talking about, and I wish we could have brought the graphic up, that the winds in the lower 1,500 feet are pretty fast.
Right.
When you get above 1,500 feet, then the winds basically calm down, but they also change directions. And so someone's already figured out, listening to Pilot's Briefing online, that there's not a box this morning. We'll see kind of a turn to a different direction. And the inversion he was talking about is probably right about that same level, or about 1,500 feet. And that means it's warmer up there than it is down here.
Right.
So as that moves down, we talked yesterday about the winds mixing down, so those winds will come down. And at some point in the morning, these quick winds will go away. Those much slower winds at 1,500 feet will be down here on the ground. So they're talking about all of that. We're going to monitor. We're going to let you know through the different communication systems. That's what they're going to be watching. And pilots will be watching and anticipating that, especially those that are going to be flying competition.
Well, it becomes particularly important later in the morning as we get to a point where the pilots may be landing here on the field. You heard them giving them instructions about where they would be able to land here on the field. And the hope is that those wind layers, when they do mix, a lot of the speed abates. It's kind of like when you're taking a cake mix or something in a bowl and you're mixing things together. There are two separate layers initially, and then as you stir and stir and stir or whisk and mix everything together, it creates a different layer. And that's what we're hoping is the lower fast layer and the higher slow winds eventually will blend for a more moderate layer all the way from the surface up. And that's what you want when it comes time for these balloons to land on the field, is lighter winds on the ground. So that's what they're hoping for today.
And that's typically what will happen. It's just a matter of when does it happen.
And a lot of times, especially here locally, when you have that speed at lower levels, it's typically attributable to what we call drainage winds that comes down out of the canyons from the north, and as it moves down into the valley, it allows those winds to spread out, and as they do so, then they begin to slow down and mix out a little bit.
Right.
So it's a typical weather phenomena that we see here. So it doesn't sound like we have anything unusual to look forward to today. We'll just have to monitor that to make sure that the winds have abated enough so that the pilots can land safely here on the field. That also tells me it's a good thing that now, of course, later in the morning when we start competition, you will leave the rooftop and you'll be down in the target area, which is great because eventually with all those balloons landing, you heard him talking about the best place to landing, south end of the field.
Right.
That's where we are.
That's
and
it.
when those balloons come in here and land, we can't see the targets anymore.
Right,
from up
they're
here.
all right here. And
so that's the benefit of having you down there, and I can just go home early, I think.
No. I'll spot banner numbers, and you'll have to look them up.
Okay. Well, you know how I am with that spotting chart, so don't count on me for too much.
So we do see the balloon of the day. He mentioned that the Oxy balloon with
yeah.
Matt Hurst. Yep, Oxy, a brand new sponsor here at Balloon Fiesta. I'm glad
That's the balloon. The balloon's called
the balloon.
Captain, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, with Matt
'Cause
Hurst.
I made the comment when we first saw it on Saturday morning. You can't see it now, but when it's inflating and laying on its side, the top of the balloon looks a bit like the Captain America shield from the Marvel folks. So
Somehow I think that was the design
it probably was
idea
the
behind
design
it all.
intent. I'm sure it was. Yeah.
And so closer to 7 o'clock, he'll be lifting off with our national anthem, carrying the flag aloft, and that will be the official start of day 3
Yes,
of
indeed.
the 49th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Just noticing we have another sliver moon up above the Sandias this morning. Not even as much as we've had the last couple of days. It's right over the top of your heater there. You may not be able to see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah.
Nope.
But it's there.
And it's starting to get light over here.
Well, yeah, I was going to say just if you look right to the far north end of the Sandias, you can just begin to see a little bit of light from the sun. I think
Which means on the other side of the mountain, the sun is actually starting to come up.
Right.
I bring that up because we still have 2 gas balloons flying, and they are definitely on the other side of the mountain.
And they will be welcoming that sunrise because it will bring a bit of warmth to them after probably another very cold night up above.
I chatted with Peter Cuneo, who's one of the pilots of one of the teams, and he said that at altitude last night it was about 25 degrees, which is probably warmer than it was the night before because we calculated it was probably down in the single digits the night before. And he said that they are at a much lower altitude right now, and it was up to 55 degrees. Right here on our rooftop studio, now you can bring that map up, Steve. Right here on our rooftop studio, we actually have our own weather station. It's not ours, it's the city's, and it belongs here it's here all year long, but they've put it up. You can see there's really nothing going on the radar over on the right. It's 49.1 degrees here, and the winds are out of the north at 4 miles an hour.
Aha. Okay.
And that's right there, like 20 feet from us.
Right. It's on that pole right there.
So now you know how cold it is here.
I didn't need to know that. Although there have been days when it has been substantially colder than it is now.
Yes.
It really has been quite moderate this year. So.
And the game plan is for that to continue.
Yeah, I've not yet had to break out the long johns and, the other accoutrement to stay warm. I mean, I do have my gloves and my scarf, but I'm not nearly as bundled as I sometimes have been.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can't get Peter on the phone here if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're just looking at our crew going to work there, as a matter of fact, on what will become the Exxon Mobil balloon, our sponsor balloon. Balloon Fiesta Live is powered by Exxon Mobil, and you can see the Balloon Fiesta Live banner right there on the side. Tristan and his crew getting the basket rigged and about to hook up some of the fuel lines, and they will be planning to go aloft this morning. I was just going to take a quick look at our Facebook page. Terry Lindsay is watching. Good morning, Terry. She's over, I assume she's at home in Longview, Texas. My friend Charlie Holt, who is also watching this morning. Let's see. What is that? Noelle Wise says she'll be here tomorrow. Well, come on, Noelle. Let's go, girl. There's plenty of room for you. The Oxy balloon is Matt Hurst, by the way, from Missouri. They are our balloon of the day. Someone else watching from Tennessee.
So, Glenn,
yes,
I do have Peter Cuneo and Barbara Fricke on the phone with me.
Ah, great.
They are flying their gas balloon. Good morning, guys. Where are you?
Good morning, Art.
Good morning. We are some
We are someplace
to the southeast.
to the southeast of where?
Actually, our cell phone coverage is very weak here, but we are just south of Groover Airport, if that helps any.
And that's kind of like where?
Hey, Ken, shall I call you back on the satellite phone?
We could try that, sure.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get a different
connection, yeah.
We had a good connection there, and then they dropped to one bar there, so we'll get a call back.
Live TV. That's the way it happens.
That is
working until you go on the air with it.
Well, and they're moving along, and we all know when we get different cell coverages and different pieces that way.
Yeah. Donna Altwood watching from Bristol in the UK. Good morning, Donna. Burlington, North Carolina, checking in, saying good luck to Ken Drawn. Yeah, good luck, Ken. Ken's a good friend of ours. Good morning from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
I noticed when we were looking at the crew setting up the Hot Minute Exxon Mobil balloon that the Dawn Patrol was in the background there. So we can see that they haven't really gone too far away. And when we were looking at there they are. We can see the Dawn Patrol in the background.
Yeah, you see a couple of the balloons in the background there, yes.
But I think it's going to be a good morning. We're going to probably have a little window there where we're going to see some speeds of the balloons coming by here. But I think that will mix down nicely. And we'll talk more about that competition. He was talking about today being the Sid Cutter Memorial. The idea here is that we're going to put a little boat out in the middle of the field.
Right.
And the best scoring position is right on the bow of the boat. And if you miss the boat and you fall away from the boat, typically that represents water.
And your baggie,
would be lost.
Right.
But as we started in 2019, and as Henry mentioned at briefing, we're now going to go ahead and score those baggies. We're going to retrieve that baggie, if you will, and go ahead and score that. We're just going to add a 300-foot penalty to you as well.
We have a deep sea diving team on call, and they'll go diving to get those baggies, those markers.
Good morning, Peter. We have you again.
Yes, apologize for that. We are flying low and pretty much out in the middle of nowhere here, but just south of a couple small classy airports.
And so last I looked at the map, you guys were kind of moving. out of New Mexico, about to go through the panhandle of Oklahoma, northern Texas there. That's the last I saw. How's things been up there?
I think we lost the connection again.
And the satellite usually works.
Yeah, well, technology being what it is.
And of course, before the show, we had great coverage.
Yeah, of course we did.
Well, there they are on the map. We can talk about this. They're moving at 11, almost 12 miles an hour, and they have crossed out of New Mexico. They told me that they thought as the sun comes up, they would start to move towards the southeast.
Southeast, right.
They're about 130 kilometers short of the balloon that has gone the longest at this point. Let's try this one more time.
So they're calling in again?
They're calling me one more time.
Okay.
Bars now on my cell phone.
Oh, so you got 2 bars now?
I'm sorry, say again?
You have 2 bars on the cell phone now?
I do.
All right, we have you live on the air and on the PA system. So what's it like up there?
Right now, it's very calm. We are wide open. We were very happy to see first light. We're now very happy to see the sunrise because we don't have to deal with flashlights and headlamps anymore.
What's the temperature up there?
Temperature is about 65 degrees. Overnight, not this past night, but on Saturday night, it got down as low as 25 degrees because we were much higher. That was a very cold night for us, but last night we flew much lower, and I don't think it got below 40 degrees last night for us.
That's nice. What do you expect to happen during the day today?
Today, the general trend in direction is we're all going to be turning more to the right, which will be to the southeast, and things are going to start moving slower. Typically, out here on the Texas plains, you have pretty bad thermal activity about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then if we do choose to fly through the night, there'll be a period of cooling for about an hour after sunset. And then we have to make it through the next morning to land.
And I would guess you'd make that decision closer later in the afternoon?
Yes, I think that typically the time you'd make that decision would be giving yourself enough time to set up a landing before sunset if you decided you weren't going to fly through the night.
Without giving away any competitive secrets, how's the ballast holding out?
We still have adequate ballast. We used a lot going through the mountains around Las Vegas and also going up to as high as 17,000 feet over this flight. So it takes about 50 pounds of ballast to go up every 1,000 feet. Going up 13,000 feet, you got about 750 pounds of ballast that you got to get rid of, and we started with about 900. So, but we have adequate ballast right now.
Well, we're all watching you on the tracker and continuing to send good wishes your way. Of course, you have the opportunity to win or stay in second place as this goes on. The 2 teams have already landed, and so we'll continue to watch from you and appreciate you calling in and giving us an update. Continue to fly safe, and glad you're warming up.
Thank you. And if I can just give a 30-second shout-out to Art and Noah. I would not be at all unhappy to finish second to Bert.
Bert and Noah.
Bert and Noah. I'm sorry. I'm getting my name's confused here. A little fatigued, but Bert's a great guy. He just recently was inducted into the VFA Hall of Fame, and he's never won this race, so I can't imagine a more deserving guy to win it. And I'd be very happy to come in second behind him.
I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that. Yeah, he's flown a great race, continues to fly one, and it's interesting that first and second place, whichever way it comes out, is going to be 2 different strategies in this race, one going more to the north, one going more to the south. It's been great to watch. We continue to watch. You guys continue to fly safe, okay?
Will do.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
All right, so there you get it. Straight from the pilot's mouth.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, Peter and Barbara live in their gas balloon, giving us a taste of what the America's Challenge Balloon event is all about. So,
and a competition, but a really friendly competition.
Yeah. I mean, they're all out there having a great time, and it's as you heard Peter say, he'd be happy to finish second to Bert. You know, that's not saying he doesn't want to win. They all want to win, but
remember too that Peter and Barbara are flying a Bert Padel-built balloon.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, and they have been really great friends with Bert for a very long time. Worked with Bert. Bert has built a hot air balloon basket for them. He's built their gas balloons. They've worked on building gas balloons together. They communicate and coordinate lots of different thoughts and ideas about things all year long. So they really are great friends, and this is great to see the two of them out there. Of course, we're disappointed about Brenda and Brian, a team from Texas, and Mark Sullivan and Sherry White have also landed, but they all had great flights.
Yeah,
and nice, safe flights,
yeah.
And it's just one of those weird years that they're not going anywhere very fast at all.
No, that's true. I mean, we've seen years when they've covered great distances. That won't be the case this year, obviously.
It's a good thing that the Canadian border is closed. You don't want to get up there and find out you can't get in.
Find out you can't come home. Yeah, that could be a bit challenging, yes. But, but a good flight. And like I say, the important thing is they have a good, safe flight, and so far everyone has. And the gas community is a very small community. I mean, there's not a bunch of people that are qualified gas balloonists who are involved in it actively, and so it would make sense that they're all pretty close-knit family. And you always want to win a competition, but there are times when you really don't mind losing or coming runner-up to a really good friend that you know is a deserving winner as well. I think that's what Peter was telling us as far as his relationship with Bert.
We just saw a shot, as we've seen a few times now, getting the Hot Minute balloon, our ExxonMobil balloon, ready. And I see that Ty Young has taken his fire truck over to be chased today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Ty Young's fire truck. He usually has the fire truck and his crew working with some of our Belgian pilots. And so we usually have him out there, but with the Belgian pilots unable to get here this year.
Yes.
So he's going to be...
There are some interesting chase vehicles out there if you're wandering around. No telling what you might stumble upon. I noticed as I was leaving the hotel this morning, there was a school bus that was backing out, and as they drove by me, I noticed there was a balloon bag in the back of the bus.
There you go.
And so clearly it was a chase vehicle.
There's
and
the truck.
There's the fire engine. Yeah, that's a beautiful old engine too.
It is.
So yeah, you'll find. And last night we had pictures of a team that had. I guess those rope lights is what it looked like, all on their trailer with a balloon shape on it that was blinking off and on. They were doing their own balloon glow without a balloon.
On the trailer.
Their trailer was doing a balloon glow. So that was quite interesting. To get more on the America's Challenge race while we're waiting to launch the balloon of the day, our intrepid reporter Ruth Lind, who is also director of the Communications Center for the gas balloon race, is on hand with an update from the Communications Center. So, Ruth, take it away.
Yes, I am the director of the Gas Balloon Command Center. We are outside the command center right now because for some reason the command center appears to be a Faraday cage and we can't communicate with anyone while we're in there, except for the gas balloons. But Cliff Tweedy has been doing the morning shift in the command center for many, many years. And Cliff is an expert at all of this. He's a former air traffic controller. This morning is getting exciting. What's happening at your end?
Well, we've got two balloons that are still up. One is just west of Big Spring, Texas, and the other one is up north of Amarillo, Texas. So it looks like one of them at least is planning, they said they'd probably be planning to land sometime this morning. The other one we really haven't heard from lately.
Well, we have just been talking with Peter and Barbara over the sat phone, and they've been telling us what it's like for them. They sound a little tired. Have you had that response from the other pilots as well?
You know, on the morning shift, we haven't really talked to the pilots themselves. The shift prior to us had talked to Team 4, and sorry, I don't remember the names, but they said they sounded good and that they were having a good flight. So, you know, it's been a long day, long couple of days for them. So I would imagine they've haven't got a whole lot of sleep. So.
No. Talk to me a little bit and tell our viewers about some of the services that you provide with air traffic control and with the sectionals and the mapping and Google Earth and all of the things in the command center.
Well, we've got a lot of information that we have displayed for us. We have sectional charts from the FAA. Basically, they're VFR charts that locate, have all the airports depicted, all the different airspaces depicted. And we also have low IFR charts that kind of give us the low routes of aircraft and that sort of thing. So this provides a lot of information for us to know the direction that the aircraft are flying, what possible restricted airspace he may be going into, what controlled airspace he may be going into. And we can kind of talk to the different air traffic control facilities like Albuquerque Center or Fort Worth Center right now, and just let them know what the balloons are doing. Even though that the balloons do have a tracking device that ATC can actually see, but sometimes they turn it off to conserve battery and things. So we just do some coordination, just let everybody know that we've got gas balloons out, because it's not a normal activity in the airspace and stuff in this area. So, and also we provide help for pilots. Once they get on the ground, we can help with communications with their ground crew if they can't get hold of them. If they need assistance with local authorities, we can contact local authorities for whatever assistance that they may need, and then they can get out and help the pilots and stuff. So we're just kind of a safety group for them. So.
That's absolutely wonderful, and we are so grateful for all the work that the command center does, and I know the gas pilots are too. And thank you. I'm going to let you get back to work now,
Thank
Cliff and Glenn and Art. We're here at the command center. I think it's going to get busy soon.
Thank you, Ruth. And I think I may have said she was director of the communications center. I meant command center, obviously.
It's kind of both.
Well, it is both. You're right.
Yes.
But just to set the record straight, that I think I misspoke there, not intentionally. So, but great interview, and it's that's almost like a war room is how I would sort of couch what the command center is all about, because
Yes.
they're monitoring all those maps, all the different, like she said, Google Earth, other services that they have, doing much more tracking they're doing in there than we're actually seeing on the little tracker map that we post here.
Right. Well, they keep throwing different overlays over there so they can see what
Exactly.
airspace they were talking about,
Yeah.
whether it was Albuquerque or Dallas-Fort Worth Center. Those are the air traffic controllers, because we're an aircraft. We're up there. We're transmitting that signal as well. And so the folks, the air traffic controllers, are watching and tracking as well. But we try and give the centers a heads up, because most of them don't see balloons come through their radar
They
very
do
often.
not. But one thing I note that was interesting was we heard Sam Parks asking each of the pilots as they launched on Saturday evening, is your transponder squawking? And in those who know
Yes.
anything about aviation, every aircraft, hot air balloons typically are not, but fixed-wing aircraft are equipped with a device called a transponder that you set to a specific code, and it beeps that code out essentially, so that the aircraft shows up on radar, and that's how they track them in these air traffic control centers. And so all of the gas balloons are equipped with and are using transponders during their flights. That's one of many bits of equipment they use on the gas balloon that we typically are not associated with hot air ballooning. So we are
Monitoring lots of radio communications here.
Yeah.
And think about this from an air traffic controller's standpoint. They're watching their radar screens, and they're seeing balloon or aircraft go by anywhere from 100 to 500 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden this little dot shows up that isn't moving in scale to everything else. And you start wondering what the heck.
And it's moved an inch on their screen maybe.
And how many hundreds of other things have gone by in the meantime.
Right.
So try and give them a heads up to know that they're about to show up on their radar. They should start seeing them, and they know what's there, and they're not, hey, did somebody use whiteout on my screen?
Yeah, and of course the other thing is that an air traffic controller can ask an airplane, to divert, to move
here, go this way,
turn right, turn left, so many degrees,
change your altitude.
Change your altitude. You don't do that so easily in a balloon, and so part of the air traffic control routine is to direct or steer any aircraft that are in the area around where the balloon is, rather than the other way around, because the balloon just can't simply change course or altitude that quickly and respond to commands, which is the reason we don't typically fly hot air balloons in and around airports, because we can't turn right, turn left on demand like an airplane can.
Right. Exactly. So we're continuing to see rigging going on there. We have a number of balloons starting to go cold. A lot more traffic on our radio now about the launch. Our balloon of the day is standing up, and we're just about 5 minutes away from the launch of the balloon of the day.
That looks like mostly the Rainbow Riders, our official ride concessionaires, who are cold inflating down along, I think that's row P. Is that where they're located?
Yes. The ride balloons are on P.
So that's a lot of them. But around the field, we're beginning to see a little bit of air flow into some of the balloons. Now, the ones that are on the field will be what we call Fiesta flyers. They're simply flying for sport or for fun, for enjoyment, and they will be launching off the field this morning. That'll be the first of what Art was saying earlier is a double launch. After the balloon of the day goes, then we'll begin that launch. And so any of the pilots, these are pilots who are not participating in the competition, that will be launching off the field this morning. And so it will take a few minutes for us to get them airborne and away from the field. Once that happens, then we will flag off the scoring area. We'll move the boat into position for the Sid Cutter Memorial, because we heard that task is on for the day at pilot briefing. And then we'll have a whole big bunch of balloons that'll come flying into the field to start the first day of competition as we try to crown a new champion of Albuquerque's International Balloon Fiesta for 2021.
The overall winner gets a pretty good-sized check, and they get a replica of the Sid Cutter Memorial statue that is right outside the Sid Cutter Pavilion.
Yes.
The typical pose, there's tons of pictures of Sid sitting basically on the side of the basket while he's in it with his puppy dogs with him. And it's a great statue from, like I said, from a few photos of Sid in his flying days and all of that great stuff.
I think almost all of us who come to Albuquerque, excuse me while
Wake
I have a
up,
yawn
man.
attack, I'm trying. The first year that statue, the first Fiesta we came and the statue had been erected, I think almost all of us stopped and had our pictures taken with that statue, and great remembrance of Sid.
Someone is asking if we have a green flag yet. It appears, I see the green flag up on the pole.
Okay, your eyes are better than mine.
I knew that we had the green flag because they've told folks that they can go cold.
Right, we knew
and as soon as the balloon of the day lifts off, they can go hot, because they want them up and out as quickly after the balloon of the day as possible to make room for all those competitors coming in. There it is. There's the shot of the green flag. So yes, thanks for asking. It is definitely there. And there's actually in that same shot, stay there for a second. There's our camera up on the yellow scissor lift. Right next to one of the large video boards and our main street stage, which is where we'll have the national anthem.
And you notice the video board is also powered by our sponsor, ExxonMobil. So the one thing I was watching earlier, and this is one of those weird things that just pops into your brain in the early hours of the morning when you're cold and trying to figure out what's happening in life. I don't know if we have any Star Trek fans here, but if we do, the one thing I just noticed is that all of our officials are in red jackets.
Yes, they are.
And if you're a Star Trek fan, you know what happens to the guys in the red uniforms?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
They don't survive the show, though.
They typically don't survive the show, or if there's going to be a casualty, it's going to be one of the guys in the red shirt. So anyway, I don't know why that occurred to me this morning, but it just did when I was watching pilot briefing when we saw both Brad Tiemeyer and Henry Rosenbaum in their red jackets, their red official jackets. And I was chatting with a friend last night about the early days of Fiesta. I remember one of my first 2 years here as the announcer, the jackets, rather than being all different colors for different ranks and positions, they were white, and then down the arm it said official
Yes,
in
it
great
did.
big letters. And I hated that because I was a new kid here and I was the announcer, and I'd go down on the field and everybody was, oh, can you tell me, and because it said, they thought I knew something because I was an official. I didn't know anything. I was just there to talk. So I'm glad we went to the new system where we have color-coded jackets for the different roles that people play here at Fiesta.
What we do is we keep changing the navigator or the volunteer color jackets, though. So we throw a little wrench into that every year.
Right, so that each year it's a different color.
For the navigators.
For
But the
navigators.
safety guys will always be in red.
Well, they'll always be in red.
And the
Exactly.
zebras will be in black and white.
Right. Yeah, no, I get you. But the pilot jackets usually change year
As
to
do
year.
yes, yeah.
And the navigators, and we've got the beautiful blue navigator jackets this year, which are this is probably my favorite jacket after 32 years.
Well, there you go.
I love the color. So blue's my color, and so
It is.
very well done. So we're getting close.
We're getting very close
balloon
here.
of the day, I believe. We're also beginning to see more of the Fiesta flyers cold inflating around the field now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the start of the festivities today. Here is our national anthem sung by Michael Sheldon.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And there we are. We are officially underway on day number 3. Thank you, Michael Shelton, for our national anthem. Matt Hurst taking the colors airborne in the Oxy-sponsored Captain Balloon. And that is the signal for all of our Fiesta flyers, our non-competitors, to go ahead and go hot. Turn the burners on, heat that air that's inside the balloon, get your balloon standing up, and we will get you airborne so that we can move on to the competition. Things are going to be just great today.
Yeah,
I've been watching.
Shot.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, look right up inside. Yep.
Yeah.
We talked about the winds maybe being a concern a little bit. Right here on the surface, it's actually settling down a little bit, so that's another good sign.
Yeah, and of course we have our crack weather team who will be monitoring that in case there should be any change in that, but we expected generally for the winds to calm as the morning progresses, and it looks like that's what will be happening, which is a good sign. The bad sign is no sign of a box this morning. We were talking yesterday with Henry Rosenbaum because there was a box yesterday morning, although it was very high, and we were talking that, that's something that the competitors love to see because it means if they don't have the right angle to the target on their first pass across the field, then they can just continue to fly and use the box to go back up, reverse back and come in again, make a second or third or fourth pass. And it is a shame that we don't have that this morning because that makes for a very spectacular competition day. So it looks like it's going to be one of those days where you get one crack at the target.
That's it. Better line it up first time.
Yeah, better be right there the first time.
Barney Watson is taking the Cool Beans balloon off the far southwest corner of the field, and he's about to fly over the RV park, which is just south of us, which just happens to be where Ruth Lind is in the Airstream area. Ruth?
Yes, I'm here in the Airstream RV park. I have always had the dream of owning an Airstream, and I'm just in heaven over here. With me is Richard Gerard from Prescott, Arizona. Richard, tell me about this group of Airstream enthusiasts you have with you here.
Well, we're all part of an international club of Airstream owners, and for the last 14 years we've been meeting here and enjoying the Balloon Fiesta.
That's cool. Now, you were telling me earlier that you're all dry camping here?
Exactly. We have no hookups. We run generators and solar panels and whatever we need to keep going, but the Airstreams are all self-contained, so that's not a problem.
And you, of course, are able to get pumping passes and water delivery, which is great. Where are the people from who are here for Balloon Fiesta?
Well, this year we have people from as far away as Florida and Maine. Unfortunately, none of our Canadian members can make it down, so they all had to cancel out. So we have a few empty spots where our Canadian friends should be this year.
Yeah, I'm from Maine also, and we've been watching the Canadian border closures pretty carefully. Oh my goodness, who do we have here?
Well, this is Ken Johansson. He's running the show. Let me get Ken to sit down here for a second.
Ken, come join me over here.
Okay.
Ken Johansson.
Is there a reason to get up this early?
Absolutely. Of course there is. Where are you from,
We ask
Ken?
that every day.
Durango, Colorado.
Durango, Colorado. And you come down here for Balloon Fiesta every year. It looks like it with your hat.
We've been doing this for 14 years. 14 years.
Wow. Always with your Airstream.
Oh, yeah, well, we have this is a rally that we do every year. And started, as I said, 14 years ago, except for last year. And we started out with 20 Airstreams, and we now have 150 here.
150 Airstreams in one place. What's the biggest Airstream rally you've ever been to?
That would be the international rally, and there's generally, I don't know, 400, 500, 700, 800 trailers at that rally, yeah. So, and I just got back from one in Lebanon, Tennessee, and I think we had like about 800 Airstreams there.
That's wonderful. Well, we are so happy that you are all here to join us for Balloon Fiesta. We hope you have a wonderful week. And I'm going to send it back to the studio with Glenn and Art.
Thanks, Ruth. And tell Ken he needs to go a bit to catch up. It's been 32 years for me, and I know a lot of others have been here a while too. I like this first question though. Is there a reason to get up this early in the morning? We ask ourselves that every day during Fiesta.
Hey, but they're all the balloons are all coming your way.
Well, that's right. The folks in the RV park are about to have a great show because we're getting our launch underway, and the balloons are coming right to you. I noticed the one guy just, I guess the trailer next to where Ruth was at, sitting out there in his shorts, and I've never understood people who can do that at this altitude, at this hour of the morning, in these cool temperatures. I'm wearing anything I can find just about, and he's out there in a sweatshirt and a pair of shorts, so good for you.
Golden Corral is probably over the Airstream groups right now. Rex Jennings took that out a few minutes ago. I saw the Coca-Cola balloon get airborne. Yep. There goes the Zia of Tom McConnell with the TLC plumbing and heating banner on the side.
Cottonwood Mall has its balloon standing up, and we'll be launching here in just a few moments, I think. The Rainbow Riders continue leaving out of the center of the field, those bright yellow balloons with the rainbow motif. Easy to spot.
Directly out of the center, just above those that we're looking at. That's the newest Rainbow Rider balloon.
That one with the Zia, and instead of the rainbow color stripes around the balloon, it has those reds and golds in it.
And the Coyote just kind of spinning around out of the way. Yes, just spinning out of the shot.
Yeah, down around the skirt. If you look closely, there is a Coyote in there. We spotted that as it flew by the other day.
It's just going around the corner. We saw it. You're watching the.
I'm watching the real balloon. You're watching the TV screen. So.
Yep.
I see.
And so it was there, but using that. Well, look, they turned the Zia right towards its
There you
force.
go. Yeah, that's those turning vents we were talking about, probably.
Yep. With Rainbow Riders having 38 different ride balloons out here and so many of them looking the same, it's nearly impossible to know who's flying which one, or we'd pass that along to you as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Troy Bradley isn't flying this one, though.
Well, it could be. It could well
He's
be.
he's the chief pilot for Rainbow Riders here in Albuquerque, and he usually gets the newer, bigger balloons, but who knows?
Well, he's certainly got experience flying.
Certainly going right over the top of us.
Yes, he is. And there's the Coyote.
There it is, right down.
He's right center under that little line that says bucket list Rainbow
Riders.
Yeah. But Troy certainly has experience flying big balloons. You were part of the, I think, the communications team for his record flight that went from
yes, for 2 Eagles
across the Pacific, 2 Eagles. And he's done.
When you were talking about the war room condition of the America's Challenge Command Center, I was envisioning being back in mission control for 2 Eagles, where we were doing the same thing. We didn't have to talk to a whole lot of air traffic control, although there was some involved as well in different places. It was a different type of communication, especially halfway around the world.
Yeah, and I can remember we were discussing the new, who will be the new inductees into the U.S. National Ballooning Hall of Fame. One of the names that came up for consideration was Bob Rice, who, as you may recall, was the weatherman that directed Ben and Maxie and Larry across the Atlantic for the first Atlantic crossing by balloon. And Bob was the meteorologist when I was embedded in the control center for Per Lindstrand and Richard Branson when they did their Pacific crossing. And yeah, very much the same. I was thinking kind of the same thing in the war room sort of scenario that you had. And in those days, we didn't have all the computerized stuff we have now. They had paper maps and charts taped up on the wall of the hotel room, and we're doing it all there almost by pencil and by hand. It was amazing to watch Bob Rice back in the day. That was back in the early 1990s when I was out in California as editor of Balloon Life and I was embedded in the control room before embedded was a journalism term.
There you go. Just saw on our screen the second newest Rainbow Rider balloon. That's the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center balloon that was white, and now it's been flying in the dirt here, so it's getting a little dirty. There's another new one for the Rainbow Riders fleet, this one based out of Arizona, as you might expect, seeing the sun and the flag of the Arizona flag on
yes. And mentioning the Cultural Center balloon, it reminded me, I need to check my email because Crystal Sarza, who is a friend of ours here, was going to email me some information about that balloon. She is a former member of Tom Garrity's staff here, as I recall, and she's back in Albuquerque here this year visiting with us.
Well, now there's recruiting going on our YouTube chat room for crew members for Dawn Patrol. Morning at Michael in Battle Creek, Michigan.
I know the bingo game is well underway. Pauline Baker from Ireland posted in our chat room on Facebook. She says, good morning, Glenn. Are you wearing your tartan scarf? Tartan is one of the key words on the bingo card that Andrew Holly created over in the UK for our international friends to play who can't be here. And my response was yes. At that point, I had not mentioned the word tartan. Of course, now I have. So those of you playing bingo, be sure and mark your
bingo cards.
That's right. Mark your bingo cards. There's the backside of Cynthia's seal. What do you call the backside of a seal? I have no idea. But
the backside of the seal.
The backside of the seal. But there
That's
it
what
is.
I'd call it.
Probably the safest thing to call it.
And so, we were just seeing the basket on the feed. So.
Yep. And so there's. It looks like maybe they're turning Cynthia around so that we'll get a nice smile from Cynthia Seal this morning. Here she comes.
So we go from the back side to the side.
Yeah. Well, it could be the port side or the starboard. Let's see, which is starboard is right.
And here she comes.
And got those balloons reflecting in her eyes. I like that. There's Cynthia Seal on our feed. Nice shot. Our crack
Pat
production
Rolfe
team
from Battle Creek.
Yeah, our crack production team always getting those camera views when we go off on a tangent about something, which is frequent.
Yeah. And we talked last night, yesterday morning, one of the fractal balloons. That's Infinitude, Jonathan Wolf's. You mentioned that Jonathan had been making tie-dye balloons for a while, and then he started working with Kubitschek balloons to figure out how to print a design on fabric. And Jonathan, being involved with math and fractals, came up with the fractal pattern that has been printed on that balloon.
And Cynthia Seal getting airborne now here along. There's the fractal balloon on our feet. Look at the amazing beauty of that. I love the blues in it, of course. But yeah, it's a gorgeous balloon. The Xfinity balloon is getting up and away over near main stage, and I think you told me that is
Sean Askren.
Sean Askren flying the Xfinity balloon.
There goes Cynthia.
Sean did a flight out of his home airport. I guess it's been some months ago now, but we featured it.
Let me just. You get a shot of the roof. That's how close Cynthia is going over the top of us.
Right, over the top of us. Anyway, I was saying that Sean did a flight at his home airport not too long ago for a mother and her child, and we had a great story about it in Ballooning Magazine. And Sean and I have been bouncing around the balloon circuit for a number of years. Way back in the day, he was the corporate pilot flying the Winston balloon when cigarettes could do advertising on hot air balloons, which they don't do anymore.
Comes another Rainbow Riders balloon right over the top of our rooftop studio.
Phillips 66 also getting airborne. Now, I would have said previously that was Paul Petrin flying that balloon, but not this year, right?
Brad Rice is flying
Brad
it
Rice
this year.
is flying it, okay. Paul is here. I'm not sure what balloon he's flying, actually, but I've seen him.
Yep.
Actually saw him yesterday at the BFA's annual general meeting. His brother Johnny is flying the Big Sky balloon, which I did get a quick look at. It's way down at the northeast corner of the field, and they're here as part of a...
see it through the balloons I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, right. Yeah, you can see the letters Big Sky, not hard to miss, on the side of the balloon. That is a new television series on ABC that just premiered last week, and so he is here.
There it is.
There it is, yeah. Beautiful blue and white, and doing some promotional work for ABC in the new TV series.
We see our Festival Internacional del Globo, the balloon rally in León, Mexico.
Yep.
Javier Marino flying that for us. Good morning, Ty.
Had a chance to go down and flew in one of the very early editions of that event, and it is every bit the Albuquerque of Mexico now. It's a huge event. Crowds are massive, and the balloonists are treated like, conquering heroes. I mean, they really just lavish affection on the balloonists down there. It's a great event to go to.
Saw a shot earlier of the Pinnacle propane balloon, and I see it's airborne down in the middle of the field. Pinnacle providing the propane for Balloon Fiesta and all of the balloons here today.
There it is on the screen, and front and center in the above the launch field. I see Justin Wilkinson is inflating the Apple right on cue.
Look
There's
at there.
A shot. How about that? Told you we had a crack production team, and we'll see it better when it stands up, which will be in just a few minutes from now. Just a couple of balloons over from it, the Coronado Center balloon. Of course, Coronado Center plays a key role in the history of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Lady Jester is also here, over along the western Arroyo. Just actually a little bit to our side, to the south of the, I believe that's the top of the fractal balloon that I can see from here. We have a whole bowl of fruit out there. I see the apple balloon. If you look right behind it, is the seed quill, the watermelon balloon. Speaking of Coronado Center, I was going to say, speaking of malls, there goes the Cottonwood Mall balloon as well. And that is that Ken Tattolini flying that? Who's flying Cottonwood Mall? It looks like Ken's balloon.
Cottonwood or Coronado? Oh, Cottonwood.
Cottonwood.
It does. Right next to him, I was noticing Starlight, that one right there, the green and blue and yellow. That's Starlight with Peggy Watson Meinke. And let me see if I can find it that way. Not that one. Back to my.
I'll let you run that spotting app. You're much better at it than I am.
Yeah, yes it is.
See, I thought
Blue
so.
and Outlaw, yep.
Yeah.
I thought so too. I was just confirming it.
It was Ken Tatalini and his lovely partner, Patsy.
Good morning, Ken.
Hey, Ken. And it was his lovely partner, Patsy, who took the selfie I was telling you about last night. She was down about
from midfield?
midfield, and took a selfie and says, "Here's my selfie with Glen Moyer. He's on that building way back there." I thought that was pretty original, Patsy Buchwald.
Another one of those smiley face balloons peering through at us at the top.
Yeah, I just saw that. And there goes the U.S. Bank balloon.
Scott McClinton.
Scott McClinton's balloon.
Arabelle standing up as well. And Smokey Bear, cold inflated. So we'll be seeing them standing up. I even see the flip-flop fantasies. Terry Dillard back there with that.
Yeah, Terry's only recently begun to get really active in hot air ballooning again. For many years, he's been busy flying blimps. And
Well, that balloon was Diane Carlson's for a while.
It was originally, yes, yep. And but now Terry has started up a ride business down in Florida called Flip Flop Fantasies. That's the name of the balloon.
Yeah.
I think the company name may be slightly different, but just by means of saying that Terry's getting very active in hot air ballooning again. He was years ago when we first met way back in the early 80s, and now he's still flies blimps. He just did a blimp tour, as a matter of fact, across the U.S., but now getting active again in hot air ballooning.
And there's Lady Jester. You mentioned her before.
Yeah.
Robert Lupton from Albuquerque.
Yep, originally built and flown by our good friends Carson and Martha Lane, the Fun Bunch from down in Louisiana, but they've retired from flying, and so Lady Jester continues to fly, lives here in Albuquerque now. Beautiful balloon, one of those Mardi Gras shaker type things that you would see if you visit Mardi Gras down in Nolens, Louisiana.
We just had a shot of Gus T. Guppy before we went to the Sequel.
Yeah, Sequel, the watermelon balloon we were talking about just a moment ago, and right in front of it now, Justin Wilkinson does have the Cosmic Crisp hot air balloon. The apple balloon shape is standing up, and no doubt he'll be launching here in just a few moments.
And there we're back to Gus on the screen. Jim Reagan.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Gus T. Guppy. There's the Cosmic Crisp apple. Trying to think.
The pilots are doing. The pilots are doing a great job of getting the balloons up and out, which is what they were asked to do at pilot briefing.
I was just thinking back. Cosmic Crisp had me thinking about what other fruit shapes balloons I've seen. We've got the apple, and there is another apple that used to fly out. Jim Hendershot out of the Carolinas used to fly a big red apple. My friend David has a different, slightly different watermelon balloon at home in Shreveport, Louisiana. We used to have a peach balloon that was out of the great state of Georgia, and we once had a banana balloon. We built it at Thunder and Colt Balloons back in the day. Never the most practical shape, but there was a banana.
I wouldn't think that would work really well.
No, it never really, it certainly didn't exceed expectations. It may have met expectations a bit. I'm not even sure about that.
Well, then of course you have Chicky Boom that has all the fruit around the top.
Well, yeah, but
it's not an actual fruit shape.
I was thinking just a fruit shape. There's a strawberry. I can remember that. So strawberries, apples, watermelons, bananas. I don't think anyone's ever done a pineapple shape. That might be fun to do. There goes Justin Wilkinson now in Cosmic Crisp, he is the apple of our sky. Oh. Sorry, not sorry.
Sounds like a new term for bingo.
Could be. Or maybe a new marketing term for.
It could be a wild card.
For Cosmic Crisp.
It could be.
The apple of our sky. I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Copyright it quickly. Register it.
That's right. Register it now before somebody else jumps on it. There is the balloon Ursa Minor, our good friend Dale Wong out of Rancho Cucamonga. His balloon is that green with the vertical stripes of purple, pink, and yellow around it. Just next to him is the Itsy Bitsy balloon. Have you mentioned them yet this morning?
I have not. I was just about to go there.
With the spiders on the side.
Yeah. The not so itsy bitsy spiders.
The not so itsy bitsy spiders. And they don't look like necessarily the itsy bitsy spider climbed. Did he climb up? Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh, man.
Because it looks like they're climbing down to me, and I think the spider climbed up, but I don't remember.
They're probably climbing up. Yeah, they could be going down.
I think
they've probably already been over the top and are just continue to going around.
Yeah, coming down to eat the people in the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it Itsy Bitsy Spider climbed up the garden wall or something like that? I'm sure one of our viewers will tell us. They'll know it better than we do. Ina Vanderkratz telling us there is half an orange. You're right. I'd forgotten about that. There is half an orange, another fruit.
What happened to the other half?
Yeah, well, they probably ate it while they were building the balloon.
Could be. Sequel now is airborne. There's our Desert Viking on the screen.
Yeah, so those of you watching on the feed, if you know of another fruit-shaped balloon, we'll drop it in the comments for us. I'm just kind of curious to see what else, if there's anything else that we've missed out there. There goes Dale and Ursa Minor, which is now clearing a view of Arabelle. You mentioned them earlier, I know, but Arabelle the cow from Creamland Dairies. Yep, Mary Ellen Marciani Cook says, spider climbed up the water spout, down came the rain and washed the spider out. Very good, Mary Ellen. Kudos to you. Thank you. She's in our chat room on Facebook.
Yeah, and from YouTube, they're telling us the strawberry that you mentioned was from Germany.
Okay. Very
Tyler
good.
is wishing us a good morning. Good morning to you as well. We plan to have a fun time, Tyler. Thanks for shouting it out. And someone is telling us that it's getting windy in Rio Rancho.
Okay.
According to our YouTube feed. Rio Rancho is a suburb, if you will, of Albuquerque out to the northwest. Still has lots of great open spaces for flying. When we get the box, it tends to roll a little bit over to the west, and it means you can get up and fly out that direction.
Drew Egerton saying Hot Apple Fly is and I did mention Jim Hendershot flew a balloon, an apple balloon, but thank you, Drew. Hot Apple Fly was the name of the balloon that Jim Hendershot flew, the apple. Jim used to see him every year out at Freedom Weekend Aloft, a great balloon event out in the Carolinas, originally in Greenville, South Carolina, then it moved to Anderson, South Carolina, then it moved to Simpsonville, and eventually I think ran its course.
Here comes Gus. We mentioned him on the ground, Gus T. Guppy. Great shot on the screen and right over the top of our rooftop studio.
Our UK friends, Colin Wright says Flying Pictures, which is a balloon operations in the UK, had the Sainsbury Flying Circus back in the 90s with an apple, a carrot, bananas, and strawberry special shapes.
Coronado Center right over the top.
I remember that. There was a whole bunch of carrots. That was a UK special shape. Now that you mention it, I remember that. Thank you, Colin, for passing that along to us.
We just saw Itsy Bitsy go by. New Mexico True Balloon on screen. Off to the side of the screen, there's the Rax Building Supplies.
I knew we could count on our viewers to help us out there. Terry Dillard's Flip Flop Fantasies is up right now. We've been talking about Terry a little earlier. And we're clearing the field pretty quickly, so it shouldn't be What did they say at Pylon? 8 o'clock was when they were thinking about opening the field for having it for competition.
Yeah, they wanted the field open for competition at 8.
Yeah.
They were going to announce at 7:30 that the field was clear enough for them to actually be able to start their inflation and setup out there. So
right. Crown Plaza balloon is just over in front of the Sid Cutter statue, as a matter of fact. Yellow and red in the center with the black and silver bands at the top of the Coronado Plaza banner on the side.
The sun's starting to.
The sun, yeah. The red jackets are getting warm now. We're not, but the red jackets are on the official tower. Hey, Sam Parks is in blue. Why is Sam in blue?
That particular shade of blue is the AIBF staff.
Is that staff?
That is a staff jacket.
Okay, very good. I knew you would know the reason for that.
I have one of those blue jackets.
Well, that's true.
Since I am on the staff of
Balloon
Balloon
Fiesta.
Fiesta.
You do now work on the staff for Balloon Fiesta. I'm just a part-timer. Speaking of people in blue, the Never Forget balloon is just passing overhead now.
Mark Comedina with the Never Forget.
Recognizing, I'm gathering from the artwork on the balloon, police and sheriffs, law enforcement.
Right, you notice the sheriff's badge, the police, the
Right.
sheriff's star, the police badge.
yeah.
I forget what the third one is. There's a third one that's going to be, once it gets past us, we'll be able to see it. It's the ribbon. That looks like the Peanuts Forever balloon, the orange one right in the center. There's a great shot of the flip-flops on the screen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I caught a local news story last night about a police officer who was wounded here a month or so ago in a shootout, and some of his fellow officers are working to rebuild his vehicle for him.
Oh, okay.
Thought that was quite nice. That's
Jack 102 being one of the ride balloons.
Yeah, that's kind of what caught my eye when I saw the
balloon.
The Never Forget balloon go out. Yeah, reminded me of seeing that last evening on the news. Smokey Bear is getting cold inflated now. If you look just behind Arabelle, you'll see Smokey's campaign hat, the lighter beige against the brown of Smokey Bear. Beth Wright Smith is flying Smokey for us this year.
And one of those, once you remember it, you see it and remember it, put the name to it, you don't have to look it up anymore. There it is, right there in the center of the field, the kind of racer one of So Grateful, Mark Harris from Denver.
All right, so in that case, use your app and tell me what this balloon is over on the far west Arroyo that's just taking off. You don't see beige or light brown or sand colored balloons quite frequently, but I like that. It's got that as its primary color with all the diamonds, the multicolored diamonds in it. Yeah, I like that balloon.
That is Greg Garcia flying that balloon.
All right, Greg, well done. I mean, it's an unusual color, but it's striking. The diamonds, the multicolored diamonds add that bit of pop to it, but I think that's quite striking. I like that.
He calls it elevation.
Elevation. I like that. All right. Well done. Well done indeed. Good name. Good pattern.
Greg is from Albuquerque.
Well, okay.
We see
Congratulations, Greg.
Yep. And that is in a 2018 Adams.
Wow. Okay.
So a fairly new balloon.
Yeah. And you don't see a lot of Adams balloons nowadays, too. So
Adams now has two factories, if you will, one here in Albuquerque and one in Bloomington, Indiana.
Right. That's Andy Richardson who's running Adams now, I believe, isn't it?
He's basically running the operation in Indiana. Mike Bertetto is running the operation for Andy here in Albuquerque.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, still, striking balloon and a great name. I love wordplay.
Yes.
And so the play on words of elevation, I like that. And that would be, is that father and son bears out there in the center of the field or not?
Actually not. If you look, the other one taking off next to it is slightly different.
It is slightly different, same colors.
So, yeah, the one, Well, the one that's got more concentrated colors, that's going to be David Bear because Ray's going to be flying competition. And the one that has more red and kind of less of the colors is Mike Kelly, who is a really good friend of the Bears and a lot of us. So Barely Awake is the first one that went out, and so the one that we're seeing on the screen is Mike Kelly.
Okay, all right. Well, they are very similar, especially when they were launching side by side there. And I knew the Bears,
they typically on Mass
typically
Ascension
launch together in their identical balloons, and so that's what led me to go down that rabbit hole.
Mike also has a cloud hopper that he flies sometimes.
Oh, okay. That might have been the hopper we saw flying during the Mass Ascensions then on the weekend.
No, that wasn't that one.
No? Okay.
No, because he was flying this one.
Oh, well. Never mind.
There's the cork puppy in the right-hand side of our screen.
Yeah, I like that one. That reminds me of my niece Courtney's dog.
See Cheryl Lette and/or Suzanne Warren in the yellow, teal, purple, orange, going vertical, very horizontal. That's Heirloom coming over the south end of the field.
We're still, I've started a thing on our Facebook group. They're still talking fruit balloons. Ray Preston saying Sainsbury's, which is a store chain over in the UK, had an apple, a bunch of bananas, strawberry, and a bunch of flowers. I don't know that flowers are fruits, but, we could go there. What happened to our headset?
They're looking for it.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, are the stick mic, was it still up here?
It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
Okay, no problem. Once again, talking to the truck while all of you listen in. That's what the talkback number button is for. I know,
right.
But,
Yeah.
I actually have my phone leaning up against, because I forgot my little stand, so it's leaning up against the talkback button. At least it's not, the phone's not talking, so that's a good thing.
Well, certainly not talking back.
Well, no. Of course, Siri has done that before.
Yes.
She has talked back to me.
Hey, Keith, you're welcome. Tell her you're Dustin.
Not that it's something that I want to have happen very often.
I love these shots right up inside the balloon, right from the banner, the view from the pilot, the view the pilot and the passenger have, right? Literally looking right up inside the balloon.
Like right.
My goodness, I'm having a lot of yawn attacks this morning. It's day 3. Yesterday was a long day, so I'm tired. Looking forward to a night off tonight and getting probably a good afternoon nap and then a good long night's sleep tonight.
Betty's baby Grand, which we've talked about.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. That's Betty Bowens. So we are continuing to launch our Fiesta flyers this morning. These are pilots that are flying for pure enjoyment here this week. But it's the process of doing that clears the field so that we can begin then flagging off the field. We'll be moving spectators off to the perimeters. Most will move to the east toward Main Street where all the vendors are when we start flagging off our scoring area. And to tell us a little bit more about that in day 1 of competition, we are joined once again today on the tower in the studio or we're not actually in a studio, are we? Because we're outdoors. Out the studio, well, whatever. Joining us on the rooftop, our good friend and balloon meister, Mr. Henry Rosenbaum. Good morning.
Good morning. I feel like I'm in a studio.
Well, we feel
So,
like it
thank you.
too, except we'd like to turn the temperature up a little bit.
You're right. A studio full of color.
There you go.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Living color.
Living color.
It
there
is,
you
yes.
go. Yeah,
Well,
this is must-see TV.
Yes.
There you go.
What a great morning. 3 days in a row.
Yep.
Balloons in the air. We have opened the field for the competitors to launch.
Okay.
And as you just mentioned, Glenn, we're setting the flagging up and the scoring area up. We're doing the Sid Cutter today. So throughout your conversation, if
We
you'll,
heard that during pilot briefing. I heard you telling pilots about that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll set the Sid Cutter up once these balloons get launched and start to move the crowd and other chase vehicles and so forth out of that area. You'll start to see those competitors start flying in around the 8 o'clock time frame. Our scoring window opens at 8:15 and will close at 9:45.
Because I thought during pilot briefing you said 9:30.
We've extended
it. Shifted
We've
15
extended
minutes.
it 15 minutes.
Okay.
Just want to give a little more time for the field to get set and be ready to go. And we've also opened the field for pilots to land after they have scored, and they'll be landing on the south end of the field. So if you can help us to remind the folks on the south that we'll have balloons landing, and we just want to keep that area clear of vehicles and maybe some spectators just be aware of the balloons coming in.
I'll be up here where I can't see anything because the balloons will be landing,
That's
but
right.
Art will be down on the field, but we'll try and help remember.
Yeah, I'm coming down there with you again.
Are y'all going down to the boat?
Yes, we'll be there.
Oh, that'll be fantastic.
We'll be there.
Tell us a little bit about the boat and the background to that, because there's a great story behind how this task came around.
Glenn, you probably know more of the history than I do, but it is related to Sid. I believe that's Sid's own boat. If that's
I don't know if that particular one is, but the idea was there was a boat. He was in a competition.
It was a task at the U.S. National Championships, I believe, up in Indianola, Iowa. I've only heard the story, too. I don't honestly know it. And there was a boat anchored on a little pond or a lake, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I'm not clear on all the details about the story. We need to find that out, but
we will.
Well, there were many times when they had competitions that were out over the water, and there's one story about how many times we were talking about throwing stuff out of your gas balloon.
Right.
Sid was throwing things out of his other balloon, and including a passenger who went in the water.
Oh no!
And so it ended up being, because the target was a boat out there,
right.
and literally if you missed the boat, you went in the water. That's why the scoring area around the boat is. Up until 2019, it was a no score.
No score, because it was the vision was that if you threw your marker into the water, it was lost. We ran a task like that at the Great Mississippi River Balloon Race, where we had a target on a barge, and usually there was like a $5 to $20 fee if you lost a marker. But in this case, they gave us throwaway markers because they knew most of us were going to dunk them in the Mississippi River.
Yes.
And I remember a famous lesson from Bruce Bussey one time. I was way above the target and I didn't throw because I felt sure that the wind would carry it off into the water. And Bruce said, "There's no penalty for losing the baggie. You can't score with a marker in your pocket. Throw the dadgum thing."
Yeah, you at least
I'll
need a
never
chance.
forget that lesson.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, you're right. In 2019, we realized that there were a lot of people that were getting outside of the boat, outside of those scoring areas, and we want to give everybody a chance to get some scores.
Sure, especially on the first day.
Correct. So we opened that window or that opportunity up to 300 feet. And we'll still measure them, but they're going to get a penalty of a 300-foot penalty added to their score, and it'll put them in line behind somebody that has scored in the scoring area.
So the boat, the bow of the boat is the best. Obviously,
Yes.
on the boat counts.
Yes.
Then there's some land areas that are marked off.
Yes.
Some islands and a big land. Those are all scored without any penalty.
Yes.
If you're outside that, we measure, because there's still an X sitting there.
It is.
We measure from the X, but we add 300 if you're not in the scoring
Correct.
piece.
And we should see a lot of scores that way.
I think so, yes.
But we don't. We were talking yesterday morning, and we were talking about the high box, and both of us were saying the competitors would like to see that, because then you can make multiple attempts. If you don't have the right line the first pass, you can go back up, back around, and come back and try again. We don't have that today, so it's a one shot. You either get it right or you don't get it this morning.
Yep. And that's another advantage to having able to score within that 300 foot.
Right. Yeah, that one shot.
It's not quite as bad. If you don't get the boat, you get zero score. This way, at least you do get a score, and you're in the running for the competition.
Yep. All right. Well, we're excited. I'm going back to the South Tower here. I want to see some great video and conversation from down at the bow there.
We got it from 2019. We expect it again this year.
All right, good. Thank you all.
The pilots get there, we'll get it.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Henry. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for coming up again, Henry.
Looking forward to the great competition taking place here. Again, the pilots out on the field. If you're away from the field, getting ready to fly in, you are clear to set up and launch. The field will be open north and south of the field for your landings as you come in after you score, hopefully. On the boat, you can land on the south end. For those of you on the field right now, as the last couple dozen balloons get airborne, we're going to start flagging off a big area of the field, starting about row 3 and moving to the west. A lot of north and south here as well. So as you start seeing flagging go up, please move to the outside of that area so that we can get the target area open for those balloons that will be flying in.
Yeah, once the flagging is up, only race officials, only event officials are allowed inside it. We can't have spectators inside the scoring zone. That's a safety issue, not only for the Fiesta, but for the FAA. This is a day when those pylons will come into play as well. You see, if you look down toward our little puppy special shape, you can see one of those pylons. Yeah, right there on the video feed as well. And that pylon, by the way, if you don't know the story behind it, the balloons have to be a minimum of 75 feet over any spectators when they come approaching the field. Once they're inside the flagged scoring area, they can get right down on the deck as long as they don't touch the ground if they want to. But when they're passing over your heads and our heads, they must be at 75 feet or higher. And those pylons located in each corner of Balloon Fiesta Park are 75 feet tall. So as the pilot flies by, if you look out and you're below the top of one of those, one of those towers. I'm getting all emotional about it this morning. If you're below one of those towers, you need to gain some altitude. You need to be at minimum 75 feet, which is right at the tip top of those big pylons. So that's why those are around the field. It's to help the pilots have a guide as to how high they need to be coming across the spectator areas. Then again, once they're inside the flag zone, they can get right down on the deck. Speaking of tall things and height, there is on our feed Tall Steve.
Bingo!
Yeah. Tall Steve is part of the Penguin fleet of our good friend Andrew Holly, who's not with us here this year, unfortunately, because of travel restrictions in the UK. And bringing us not only Tall Steve, but Puddles 2 and Splash are here, as well as Duma. Bingo, the cheetah balloon.
I beat you to it.
Yeah, well, not on Duma you didn't.
No, but I had a blackout when you got to Tall Steve.
Okay, well, I think
Duma wasn't on my card.
I think it's on all the cards. I think
not on mine.
I think Pauline.
I made my own card.
I think Pauline got it with Tartan earlier this morning.
Probably.
But yeah, and a quick shout out. I don't know if Andrew's watching this morning. He and his daughter Roma, bingo again. But they had a really difficult day yesterday. Some years ago at the Great Mississippi River Balloon Race, Andrew and Matt Torgeson rescued a little puppy that Andrew then named Natchez, because that's where the race is at, and went to great lengths to get that puppy over to his home in the UK. And after many wonderful years, Natchez passed away yesterday, and so it was a really tough day in the Holly household yesterday, and our condolences.
Sorry to hear that.
The loss of a pet is always difficult, and Natchez was particularly well loved.
There is Duma on the screen. And just went overhead.
Yeah, there is Duma.
Spirit of 76 with Jason Gabriel went overhead just a few moments ago. And we're down to, looks like about a dozen balloons. The cork balloon, the penguin balloons you were just talking about, Smokey and Arabelle are still standing.
Well,
now they're off on the east side.
Well,
so
I was
they
just
may
about
let
to go there because
we
did hear Henry during during pilot briefing mention that to the competitors there might still be some balloons static displaying over on the east side. So we may well see Arabelle. The winds are such that I don't think we'll see Arabelle fly because it takes
and probably not Smokey
only
either,
really flies in very calm winds for a big shape like that, and I doubt Smokey too. So we'll probably see them just continue to static display as long as they feel comfortable with it over there. They won't be flying, and that might be the case for the balloons down along the north end. We'll have to watch and see. Also down.
You're right. They're kind of squunched over on the east side.
Yeah, they're all kind of
so
into that corner where I think they may just be static displaying and staying there for a while. And while you're down at that end of the field, if you're down there to look at those balloons, and there's some great shapes to see and other neat balloons there, that's also the area where you can check out the chainsaw artists who are at work there. And there's 7 or 8 little small pointy top tents, or marquees as they're called overseas, where our chainsaw artists are working every day creating amazing bits of artwork, wood carving with chainsaws. And they auction and or raffle off a lot of their work each day. And they get started, I think, about 8 o'clock in the morning, certainly on the weekends. I think the schedule holds true for the week.
Yes.
So if you're in that region, then you might want to check that out if you're down on the north end of the field as well. And again, ladies and gentlemen, spectators, if you're out on the field, now's a good time, if you haven't already, to begin moving to the perimeters. You can come down to the south end here where we are near the rooftop studio at Corporate Village. Most people will move to the east, as already they have, along Main Street and Vendor Row, where you can do some shopping while you're watching the competition. But our officials are out there now beginning to flag off the scoring area.
I can actually see them starting to set up one of the scoring areas out there.
I think I see one of the targets being set out as well. Is that an X they're working on, or is that a balloon?
No, that's actually because there's the X that marks the center of the measuring points.
Right.
Which hitting the center of the X today is not a good score.
That's right.
Okay. What
Yeah.
they're going to lay out is a nice big rectangle box, and that's what I think.
That's right. That's right.
Because that's
Yeah.
the land mass.
That's the land mass, and they
that's
mark
what-
it out with paper on the ground. I'd forgotten that. Yeah.
With fabric, but that's what I think they're
Well,
doing
okay.
right there.
A lot of events we use freezer paper to do that. So, but same.
Yeah, same concept.
Yeah.
So it's a nice big rectangle area that will be the land. Then there's a couple of angle bracket looking things, just L shapes, if you will, that become the islands that they'll put out on either side, and then the boat will be out there as well. It's from our point of view, it's basically right underneath that black balloon that has the different color stripes, upside down paint drops going up the sides. They're setting it out right there, so that's going to be the land. The boat will be just on the other side of that, I believe, or this side of it.
Yeah, I was going to say the boat is usually this side of it, a little closer to us.
The islands are get on one side, then the boat, and then the land, and so they flip it around depending on the winds and location.
Well,
so
that would make sense.
We'll
yeah.
give you a better description once we get out there.
Well, yeah, we'll be taking a break here shortly, and Art will be departing the rooftop and going down with our remote crew, and they will actually be in the competition area and bringing us great video from there. I'll stay up here on the roof. I do have my binoculars today to help me see what's happening, because as we said, a lot of the balloons, especially today since there's no box, they'll make one pass at the target, and they were encouraged to land here on the field because it's a nice open green area. So along the south end of the field here, which is the end where all the corporate village tents are, a lot of the pilots will be landing here, and my vision will be quickly blocked. It is, the pilots are told that once they've landed to deflate their balloons quickly.
But it still takes a couple of minutes.
But it takes a couple of minutes, and it'll be balloon after balloon after balloon. So as soon as one is down, two others have landed there, and they're still standing. So for that reason, among many others, we're able to get Art down into the scoring area with our camera team, and we'll be bringing you on the video feed, which will be a time for you to watch the big video wall if you're over by the main stage. We'll be bringing you some great video of the competition flying.
And actually, if you look way out there, Glenn, I see there is one of our competitors all way out there already.
Oh, yeah, I did see him earlier, and I just hadn't gotten around to I was going to point him out to you, but you beat me to it. So, yeah, I was wondering if that was one of the competitors flying in.
Should be.
Because you only have to be a mile away, and that's a lot further than a mile out.
It is. Well, from the north, though, you run into some...
Our production truck is telling us that might be a Remax balloon out there.
Oh, yeah, look at the screen. It does look like Remax.
Oh. Yep,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Maybe he was out at the
well done, Stephen. Well done.
Bernalillo office and flying in from Bernalillo, the town farther out there. Not very far north of us right here is the Sandia Indian Pueblo, and we don't really have great launching spots from there. So we have to find some other places, and with this straight in, it's going to be interesting to see the tactics. Who thinks they can get at least a little bit of a turn or a direction to actually get here?
Yeah, back in the day, we often launched from the reservation, and it was always fun because it was about right now when you could look beyond Tramway Road over there, and you would see the tops of all these balloons as all the competitors, and then when the field was open, it was like go. It was like watching a NASCAR race start almost, because suddenly there would be this mass of balloons coming at us. We don't do that any longer, and so on a day when the winds are pretty much on the ground, at least kind of north to south, it's kind of tricky because, and we'll see pilots, I don't know about today, but we've seen pilots go south of us and go very high when we had a box and ride the high altitude winds south to north and then drop down and make their pass on the target. I don't think we'll see that today because we haven't seen any indication that there is a box.
But there is a direction to the west up about 2,000 feet.
Okay.
Very slow.
So we might see some pilots coming from the east then.
Some of them trying to play that game as well.
Yeah. Just like the gas balloon race, competition does involve, especially on a day like today, a certain amount of strategy on the part of the pilots. And so we'll see some of that come into play.
Actually, I'm turning around and looking back overhead because our production crew is.
Well,
so look at how it's all stopped up there.
Now, those aren't competitors.
No, they're not.
But
no, those are the guys that have taken off from here.
That we might see some of that high elevation flying come in today if that wind begins to move south to north.
So you could sit up there, you could go high, sit up high, kind of think about it, watch what's going on below you, kind of go to school on the balloons that come through first.
I did that once, years and years ago, back in the 90s when I flew here. The weather gods, as we called them back in those days, had promised us that there would be a reverse box. And I came across the field north to south and missed the target. So I immediately climbed high and just hung there and waited and waited and waited and waited. And the wind never changed. And eventually I had to come down and land. And so I came down and ended up going through downtown, picked out the world's worst landing spot down near the rail yards, near the old, I think the convention center was down in that neighborhood, and came in with such a thud, my basket, the skids actually sunk into the caliche kind of ground we had down there. And you know, everything in the basket kind of like popping a champagne cork just went pow, and it flew everywhere. A couple of rail yard workers came over to make sure I was okay. And I was, but never again did I go up and wait on wind.
And wait it out?
I said, nope, not doing that anymore. Been there, done that, didn't like it.
Well, since I think we're getting very close to starting to see some folks in, and it's going to take me a few minutes to get down there.
Okay.
I think I'm going to let you fill time up here.
Well, I was going to say, I think I was going to tell the truck, why don't we take a quick break, and we can leave the feed up.
We can do that. We can take this little break and
get on your way down there.
I'll take a quick go down there. And
yeah, I'll take a quick break up here and grab another hot chocolate maybe, and then come back up, and we'll be ready to start competition.
So enjoy the view. Stand by. We'll be back shortly.
Art and I will join you back in a moment. Meanwhile, enjoy the video feed.
Woman wearing a skirt and sandals.
And ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning rather. Welcome back. I've come back live on the tower now. We are continuing to flag off the scoring zone. You can see some of the competitors finally getting into the sky. A couple of those balloons out there early I can recognize. The one that is not the ones that are way far south that you have to look up really high and far away to see, but just over to the southwest, wait a second, northwest, thank you, corner of, I always get north and south mixed up here, I don't know why. Northwest corner of the field. Down low there, you can see a balloon that has large bands of green, yellow, red, and blue on it. That is Bill Adler. Bill is out of Longview, Texas. Climbing high, you see the bright orange balloon with a band of multicolored stripes around the center. That will be Guy Gauthier. Guy and Bill are both from Longview, Texas. So it looks like several of the pilots, I see there are 3 or 4 others in the air in that area already out to the northwest. That might become a prime launch site for some of them. They're going to have to try and find a little bit of an easterly wind to bring them into the scoring zone. but at least our first handful of competitors, there's actually several others out there. Some have taken off, and I think they're going to go very high and try to find an easterly wind into the field. Art Lloyd Jr. and our production crew, our remote crew, they're out in the scoring area, or will be set up shortly. We'll let you know when they're ready to go. They'll be bringing us some incredibly good video, hopefully, from the scene, and we'll let Art set the scene on where the boat is, the Sid Cutter Memorial. This is like that 3-hour tour that lasted forever. So we are getting set for the Sid Cutter Memorial task. The pilots will come in, and as you heard Henry explaining a little earlier that the main target will be the boat with the best possible score, getting your marker on the bow. Speaking of our crack production team, our remote crew, and Art, they are now in the scoring area, set up and ready to go. So, Art, what's it look like down there on the balloon field?
Well, they're still setting the target up here, Glenn, but we are standing right next to the boat. So this spot right here that I'm standing by, that is going to be the best score in the Sid Cutter Memorial, right here on the end. Now, they're going to measure to the center of this X, and you can maybe see that there's already stretching their tapes out. So they're going to measure to the boat. That's the best score. They have set out, you can see them far over that way maybe, that they are setting out the land masses. That looks like the islands over there. Behind us over my shoulder the other way would be the big land mass. Inside those areas and on the boat are the places that they want to score. Now, if it drops off into the grass somewhere, and even if it hits these X's, they'll score it, but there'll be a 300-foot penalty added to that. So again, they have these very limited scoring areas, the boat, the white area over there, and the white area that's blocked off my other side here that you can't see. If they hit those, that's the best score. Outside that, it'll be scored, but there's going to be that 300-foot penalty as well. So our scoring team quickly and working to get this all set up as soon as they possibly can. I do see that there's a number of competitors in the air already, and it's going to be interesting to see how many of them actually get here today. As we've already talked about, they're going to have, it appears, one pass, one chance, because there is no box to go back around and try again.
Well, explain to me, if you will. Now, I understand the bow of the boat is the best possible score, and the other best score areas are the land areas. But typically in a task, there is a central measuring point. Like there's an X on the field, and everything is measured to the center of the X. So how, for example, if you're not on the boat, but you're in one of the land areas, how are you scored? What are you measured to?
You're actually measured, Glenn, right here from the center of this X. So here's the measuring tapes already being strung out all the way over to those land masses. So if you just kind of follow that tape, Tommy, it goes all the way over there. They're going to measure from right exactly where I'm standing here. The center of this X is the zero measuring point. So there won't be a zero score because even the best score to the boat is about 10 feet.
Okay, so if you land outside, so when you score in a land zone, let's say, not excluding the boat for the moment, you score in the land zone, you're measured at the center of the X. If you land in what is quote unquote water, you're measured to the X, but then 300 more feet are added, so that's where the difference comes in.
You are exactly correct, Glenn.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure we understood this morning. I have moved, by the way, to your seat, just so you know, because the set camera blocks my view of the boat here on the rooftop studio. I'll try and keep the place warm for you while you're away down there.
You know, it is a little cool down here. Hey, I just looked off to the side and I see the couple of the bees have stood up over there by Smokey Bear.
Oh, you know, you're right, and Yoda is also over there. I've been looking out to the northwest. I got to get my directions right, and trying to see a number of the competitors. The sky is filling over there, so that looks to be a prime approach zone out to the northwest. We'll see if the balloonists can find any wind to come this direction. I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
No, I have not. It does seem to be coming almost directly out of the north, and maybe, if anything, a little bit moving to the southeast. So if that is what holds at altitude, those guys are all going to be too far to the west.
Yeah,
but there is somebody up high, that blue one with the orange on it,
I'm just
that
looking
might
at that.
have a little bit of movement to the east.
Well, I'm looking at, that's actually a teal-colored balloon with kind of chevrons of blues, reds, and golds. I've been watching him because down, not too far below him, that bright orange balloon, the orange crush color we've been talking about, that is Guy Gauthier with the orange balloon and then the multicolored band in the center. And he seems to be trying to follow the same track. I've watched him as he's climbing higher and higher, and I think that's what they're looking for, is a way to the east from out there in the northwest corner.
I see that. I see Guy out there. And the more I watch that teal one, there does seem to be a very slow east. So it's definitely going to be a tactic and skilled approach to the target this morning.
Well, what's going to be fun, if you and I are correct in our speculation, Art, is when they get over the field and then drop down. We're going to see probably some pretty fast descents coming down. Fortunately, I have also not seen much push to the west. So when they drop, it would appear they'll be able to descend and drop almost straight down into the field. But at some point, they're going to start sliding north, or south rather, because the surface flow is still very definitely north to south. So you don't want to be too far to this end of the field, the south end, when you're going to need to be out at the northern edge so you can get down and still have time to come across the target.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting to watch their different tactics to make this happen here today. And I just can't wait for them all to get closer to see what actually happens.
Well, and I was just turning around and taking a peer over my shoulder. I don't see anyone coming from the south yet, so I think probably what we're seeing, that northwest corner, may be the prime directive, if you will, this morning.
It's kind of the only place you can get a good launch site from. Be the mile away, stay off the Indian reservation, the Sandia Pueblo, because that's a no launch zone. And so finding a spot that's going to get you here will be a little more difficult this morning.
Well, and I'm just going to point out, Art, you're going to have to go high. You are going to have to go high, because if you look out to your west, you can see probably Bill Adler's balloon. See the green, yellow, red, and blue, big broad bands. He's down low over the river area. He was out there where Guy Gauthier was a little while ago. Guy has climbed and gained altitude trying to get that east that little teal balloon seems to have found. But look where Bill is. Bill is passing the field, and he's way out over the river. No chance of getting here to the target to score.
No, he in fact is almost directly even with us. And again, we're standing basically at the X and at the bow of the boat. So Bill is, he's even with us, but he's, yes,
miles
way too far
away.
West.
Yeah, so you're going to have to go high and hope that there is an east.
Well, maybe a half a mile.
Well, okay.
Yeah, maybe a half a mile away.
Well, I don't think we're scoring a half mile out today. So, but the good news is,
got to be inside the flagging.
Yeah, the good news is that teal balloon, they have found some east. It's slow, it's high, but he's definitely found some.
He has. And actually that whole field does seem to be, just so slow to the east.
Yeah, it's hard to see if there's a lot of movement. I think almost everyone out there is seeing the option. The only real option is to gain some altitude. Now, the question will be, is there perhaps a faster layer of east somewhere at a lower altitude? So maybe if you go up a little slower, you might find yourself a little better movement to the east. But right now, the only direct east that I see is in the case of that small teal balloon that's really kind of leading the pack in this morning.
And actually, even that east has a little bit of south in it because he is definitely farther to the south as he gets to that east location as well.
Well, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. You're going to have to be, you're going to get east to get over the field, but you don't want to be too far to the south because when you come down, you'll already be past the target. So if you're launching out there, you really have to launch early. You have to launch and then almost go high immediately and start moving east as quickly as you can.
It looks like Guy Gauthier might be up at almost the same altitude as the teal one. And I see Sunflyer just to the west of Guy. That's the blue one with the yellow Zia. It's climbed up there as well. And they both seem to be having that track to the east.
Well, and two of the balloons a little bit lower than them in that next group down below Guy. Looks like I can see, I'll grab my binoculars, but I believe at least two of the Hartzell balloons are out there, those Texas racers that we've talked about. Let me just see if I can confirm that. Yep, there's one. And where did the other one go? He's a little bit lower. Yep, two of the Hartzells are in that group, and they are doing the same thing. They're climbing to get that altitude. Looks like Joe Zavada is also.
It is so.
Sorry, I was just saying Joe Zavada is also out in that group. His black, silver, and yellow spiraled racing balloon. I see him.
Yeah, but it is really slow up there.
Yeah, no question. No question. It's very slow. And you're right. I think that that teal balloon is still, he looks a lot closer to me here on the rooftop now than he was earlier. So that would be an indication that if you're going to get to altitude, you need to get to it quickly before you move too far to the south. Because if you're too far south, it doesn't matter if you get back over the field. You'll be out of the scoring zone.
The teal balloon is probably directly over the north edge of the field.
Okay.
And so as high as he is, he's going to have to drop very quickly to be able to come through here because, as you're right, as he's going to come down, the winds from the north to the south are going to pick up. Battery has to throw his marker, drop his marker from very high.
But even then,
which is okay.
But yes, he can drop it. But as you know, his marker is going to fly with the wind, just like the balloon was. So if the balloon is going to move north to south as it's descending, the marker is going to do the same thing.
Yes, it will. In fact, you may remember back in 2019, we had a number of folks come in on the boat and or on the other targets on other days, and same thing. They kind of get right over the boat and they drop, forgetting about that momentum. You have to drop before the target because the marker is going to move, at least for a few moments, at that same speed forward that the balloon was moving before gravity overcomes that momentum.
You're absolutely right, and I've preached that at events where I've announced about flying to a target at altitude because your brain tells you, wait. You want to be right over the target and drop and get a bullseye. But if you wait and there's any wind, you're waiting too long because your marker is going to fly past the target just as your balloon would as it's coming down. So you've got to train your mind. You've got to throw early before you get to the X and let the marker fly to it if you can't get the balloon there. If you wait till you're right over the X, you've waited too long.
And, being on the scoring team for a number of years, we get really good here on the ground of being able to say, drop now, drop now. And the pilot looks at you like you're crazy.
Like, what?
But then when they realize it does go past us, it's kind of, it's it's definitely interesting. So you may hear me, just out of habit, start saying, you need to drop now, and we'll see if they listen or not.
What's interesting, though, look, Art, as we look out at that patch of balloons, if you use Guy Gauthier, again, his balloon, easy to spot. It's that bright orange balloon. That whole pack, they've gotten a lot more east direction all of a sudden, and they're at a lower altitude than our little teal balloon. They are finding an east up there.
They definitely are. In fact, I keep watching the teal balloon. He's just when we started this conversation, he was directly north of me, and now he's moved farther east. So either the east is picking up or something's happening up there, but there is definitely an east. They're going to have to ride that wind at that higher altitude. And then you have to decide, when do I come down?
Right.
How far east do I go before I start the descent to drop in, knowing that when I come lower, I'm going to start moving quickly to the south?
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, because I'm watching that teal balloon also move further east. I'm wondering if he's anticipating that in addition to being a push north to south as he descends, he's hoping, I guess, that there's also going to be a slide to the west. So he's moving extra, maybe a little extra far to the east, so that when he comes down, as he's sliding to the south coming my direction, he will slide west back toward you at the target. Otherwise, he should already be on his way down.
I keep watching. I think he's going to, if that were me, I would be descending already, but
Yeah.
I'm not up there. And as we've already talked about, I don't score that well when I fly competition anyway. So,
well, and
that guy is dropping now, though.
I'm in the same boat. I was never that good at competition. I can count the events that I've won on probably a couple of fingers. And it's always easy to fly the balloon from here on the ground, even if you do have piloting experience. Both of you and I do. So it's easy for us to second guess and say this is what they should be doing. I'm like you, though. I agree. If I were in that balloon, I would have already been on the way down to get into the target zone. So we'll have to watch and see what happens as that teal balloon makes its approach, when and if he decides to make an approach.
So Guy Gauthier did just descend a little bit. He's stopped that descent now. So he's adjusting already to see about what might be happening lower. Is it a little faster to the east where he is? But he has dropped a little bit in altitude. In fact, a number of those are. Of course, they're also getting closer to me as well. And the teal balloon continues to try and go farther east. So he's anticipating a definite swing to the west as he comes down through this layer to the west and south.
Well, and that north-south flow is fairly deep. If you can look out again to the west, probably pretty even with you. You see a dark green and light green spiral balloon over the river area?
Yes, actually, There's a number of them there. Closest to us is the spiral you just talked about, the green-blue with the black in there.
Right.
And then there's a couple of others I see farther out. Yep.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to point out to you, which
so
I'm sure you can see, you see how strong, he's got a very strong south to north flow, and he's a few hundred feet up. So you're going to have to punch through that on your way down if you're going to get into the target zone.
Yes. That whole pack is kind of lining up now, though. We talked a few minutes ago about how it was moving east. That whole pack is coming over, so we're going to have a lot of people come through now.
Yeah.
As they have surprised me and found the movement to the east.
And I think we're going to see some exciting descents, because, as I was just saying, you're going to have to punch through this strong north to south layer of wind. You can't just slide down into it, because if you do, it'll grab you a few hundred feet off the ground and push you past the target mark. So you're going to have to descend in a hurry and punch your way through that layer of wind until you can get down close to the surface and then ride it or surf it in like you would a wave coming into the target.
And that's where these racer balloons will have a little bit of an advantage, because they can move vertically much faster and not have the distortion of the balloon that gets just kind of scary looking in fact. So we'll see the racers, which is why they have those balloons, because they fly the competition maybe a little more seriously, and they actually can be, it's kind of like the sports car versus driving the truck or the big old Cadillac.
Yeah, you could fly in comfort or you could fly in something flashy. Best thing is to be in something fast and maneuverable, and that's what those racing balloons are. And this is the type of thing they were built to do, is to be able to navigate winds like this at much greater velocity and faster speeds than a standard round balloon. And some of the pilots out there already, there's that Remax balloon I think we saw earlier. Look at him. He's dead center of the field, dropping down. Looks like a couple of the Hartzels are coming down too. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to point that out. In fact, we just turned around so that we can kind of put our camera that way. The two Hartzell balloons are dropping. In fact, the one over on the west side, well, both of them actually are doing a little bit of gyrations, a little swinging back and forth because they are coming down so quickly.
Right. But they are definitely making their descent. Guy Gauthier, meanwhile, has gone high again and is almost directly up above much higher altitude, the Hartzell balloons. I think we'll see him coming down pretty quickly, though.
And I think the teal one we've been watching is now finally starting to drop as well. He has gotten actually more east of the field. He has actually gone east of the field, and it appears that he's starting to drop as well. So we'll see how straight the line is once you get down.
Yeah, he's definitely descending. You can see the shape of the balloon changing, kind of mushrooming, where the throat of the balloon gets very loose as you're descending. You're venting air out the top, and it kind of collapses in, and the top of the balloon gets big, fat, and flat, much like a mushroom with a stem on it. And you can see his balloon taking on that shape. So he's definitely on his way down. Guy Gauthier is coming down now as well. He's begun his descent as I look at him.
And the Hartzels are actually pretty low now.
They are indeed. They're a little, still a little west to me of the mark, though. They're west of the center road here on Fiesta Park.
Yes, from our vantage point, they are definitely a little west. But, you know, in 19, it was still kind of quick here on the field, and there seemed to be, once you got over the field, a little split east and west, and maybe they're using some historical knowledge here to be able to see. And actually, I can see that it's all three of them now. It's kind of like one above the other on the right-hand side, on the east side, and then the third one is off to the west.
I see that. I also see, look up, you'll see Guy Gauthier. He's on his way down, riding that elevator to get down into these lower altitudes now, so he's making his approach.
And Remax, who we saw out there a while ago, is coming straight at us.
Well, he went out toward...
And that would be Steven Mezzincello.
Okay, is that Steven? So, and he went out probably, toward Bernalillo, I think, to launch.
It seemed like it from us, because remember, that was one of the first ones we saw. He was way out. And it's just been flying the straight line in.
And if you look, I'm sure you've seen them, there are still a couple of balloons that are down low, and they are way out there. So it looks like he's not the only one who maybe is trying just a straight-in approach. But because of the Indian reservation there, you've got to go beyond them out toward Bernalillo to launch and then get back here.
I see another one of our local favorites who is a competitor. It's the red and white checkerboard, blue on top and bottom, yellow pennants. Joe Gonzalez in Mojo Blue. He's over on the west-hand side. I think he was hoping he'd be able to slide in. And I saw him going high, but he got caught up in that lower south, and he's going to kind of go whizzing by the targets too far west.
Yeah, I fear we're going to see a lot of that, but, we'll see. Meanwhile, our little teal balloon, it looks like he stopped his descent. He's out over Main Street, if he's that close in. He might even be a little further east of us than it appears looking at it from here. I just don't see a way that he's going to find enough of a push westerly. I don't see any evidence of that anywhere in the wind markers we can see here on the surface that would suggest he's going to get pushed into the field.
I think you're correct. I think we talked about having to ride the east far enough that when you drop down, you had the line back because you only get one shot. And I think he may have gone there. He may surprise us.
But I doubt it.
Two of the Hartzels have gone back up. Two of the Hartzels have gone back up to attempt to make another round at this.
I think they saw, as we were saying, that they were still too far west. They need to get back up into that east. And that's what we were talking about with a box. Pilots who find they've got the wrong line, they can go back up and loop around and come around for a second approach. This time, today, you could only do that while you're still north of the field. Once you're over the field, you're kind of committed. You don't have any wind that's going to back you up and allow you to try again. Looks like Also, if you look way out over propane, over refueling, Gary Haven is out there. I believe that's his yellow racing balloon with the Texas Lone Star on the side of it. He's almost directly below the Remax balloon, but much further out.
I see Gary. I can't tell. I'll watch him and see if I can see what is happening, what direction he might be going. It almost looks like he's sitting on the ground, but that could be. There's a nice berm on the north end of the field that gives us kind of an illusion.
No, he's
Remax
not.
is definitely coming over the. Look what's happening with Remax, though.
Yeah.
Remax is getting a little push to the east as he comes over the field.
He certainly is. That's interesting. And you can bet the other pilots are going to school on that. And where the Hartzels and where Gauthier is to the left, to the west, they may be watching that and say, okay, we're not in as bad a position as we thought.
Exactly. Remember, I talked just a minute ago about coming over the field. Somehow there tends to be this direction to the southeast, others to the southwest as well. So, we're going to have the Remax. We're going to watch what Steve does.
There's his marker.
He's throwing at the big landmass, and it's just outside the landmass. So that'll be scored from the center of the X all the way out there, plus 300 feet.
Plus 300 feet. Well, now we've got the Hartzels, we've got Solaire, it looks like. I think that's Richard Saban in the blue, white, and black racing balloon there, just a little above and to the east of Gauthier. And Gary Haven, that whole group is coming in. They'll be here shortly.
And there's a racer up higher that's coming in as well, who will probably have to drop from above.
Several of them are descending if you look high. The blue, yellow, and orange balloon is descending.
Okay, thanks.
Guy Gauthier has gotten down. He's the lowest in this group. One of the Hartzels right behind him. Richard Saban, I'm pretty sure that's Richard's balloon coming in now. As usual, you can't tell which Hartzell it is.
Look at the drop in front of the Hartzell balloon by this multi shades of blue.
I think that's Richard Saban out of Longview, Texas. I can't see well enough, but I believe that's his balloon. Guy Gauthier is going back up.
Winding up.
But he's also climbing.
And he's winding the balloon up. Yeah, he's thrown his marker. And, it looks just outside the landmass. So we're going to have 3 here in a row. There's a throw inside the landmass by this multi-shades of blue.
Here comes one of the Hartzels. Maybe you can tell
the
once
one
they're
without
closer to
the
you.
silver on the stars.
I'm guessing that might be Lucas.
He is over the landmass. Banner 11, watch the boat. In the boat.
In the boat. Awesome.
Number 11. Solaire is going to come right over the boat as well. In the boat.
All right.
2 in a row. The black and white with the little bits of pink and green in it also has a good line, as does Gary in the yellow balloon with the Lone Star and the checkerboard.
I don't know.
So, Lucas and Sean Rea are the 2 that are in the boat. Lucas Hartzell and then Sean Rea flying Solaire.
What? So the marker from the white one with the black off the boat. Gary Haven is coming in with the yellow one. We got to watch this one right here, Tom.
And for those spectators, the few of you down in the south end of the field, again, balloons are now beginning to land here, so please be aware of that.
So there's that throw that we talked about before. He waited till he got even with the boat before he threw it.
And it flew past, didn't it?
And it fell outside the boat.
Yep, I thought so.
It's fast.
So Gary Haven should be getting
We've got
near.
one a little bit far. Yep.
Or is Gary already thrown? Nope, he's venting hard to get down.
Yeah. Gary is the one who waited too late to throw to get to the boat.
Okay, all right. Pat Fogue is up there as well. Pat flying that IMTS balloon, white with the blue and green slashes on it.
He has a good line. He is still high, though.
Well, he's coming down now.
Yep, I just saw that. Just as I said that, down he comes. He should have a good line for the boat. The blue one with the yellow and white might drift this way. The yellow, blue, and orange one that's farther to the west is going to be way off the side of the boat.
And he's actually sliding southwest, as you were talking about, that split in the middle of the field,
yeah.
Southeast or southwest.
Putting a lot of heat in.
Boy,
yeah.
Pat's got to stop that balloon and not hit the ground.
He's going to do it. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Look at that.
Wow, we're just rounded out.
But now, yeah.
Oh, no, now he's rebounding back up.
Right. He put so much heat in to save that. And then now there's his throw. And we've got this other blue one coming in. It's going to go right down the road.
Is he getting a little east, though? It looks like he is. A little southeast.
But he's past the boat.
Okay.
Well, that was exciting.
Yes, it was. But we know it can be done. We've seen it. Lucas Hartzell and
Yes,
Sean
it can.
Rea have both shown us that it can be done.
Until we get one coming in, just so we break it up. I'm not seeing your back.
So I wonder, one of the Hartzell, well, both of them are out there. Now, one is down low. I just see him down over propane, over refueling. One that definitely has the silver around it. Well, I guess both of them do now. One would be Rhett, one would be Joe. I don't know which is which. But one of them is up very high because I just saw the silver, the sunlight reflecting off that silver lining on their stars.
Yes. Can't tell from here either which one is which, but the one that's low now is definitely lining up on the road. And if the little bit of shift to the east, like Remax got, like a couple of the others got, he should be in great shape coming in.
Well, we'll be able to see because he'll be coming right to you.
Right at us. And then there's still that batch that ends up pretty far west of us. Although I do see a number of them trying to play a little bit of box around, trying to see if they can't get up high enough, get some east. There's really not a box. It's kind of maybe a left-handed one. You go back up high, and hopefully you can get enough east to get back this way, and then they'll be able to drop down. But I think some of them have waited too long. As you said, you don't really get a chance to go back north again. So if you get south of the boat, of the target, it's tough to get back. You can get back to the east, but you'll be too far south. So we have a yellow and blue checkerboard one.
I'm just looking through the app
east of the boat, but should have a good be able to throw on the land mass.
I was just looking that up. That is a balloon called Crosswind, and Sam Robbie out of Longview, Texas, flying that balloon. I think it's probably Roby.
He's got the marker out. There's the throw. Outside.
And he's going to try and round out now, too. Maybe not. Nope, he did touch down.
And didn't quite get it stopped like Pat Fogue did. So that will be a penalty. So in addition to the 300 feet from the landmass in the measurement, there'll be some other for ground contact.
Right, there'll be an additional penalty for that. Because you can come down to the deck to navigate, but you can't actually touch the ground.
So the yellow racer with the red, orange, and blue, he's going to go ahead and throw on the landmass. He threw that one, and it is south of the landmass. The red racer might have a decent line. Seems to have slowed down kind of where he is just a little bit, still quick. And the Hartzell balloon going to drop in right behind him.
Don't get in there. Okay, don't get in front of that balloon. Sam landing down here right at the edge of Corporate Village.
So the red balloon threw on the landmass and it bounced on the fabric. I don't know if the fabric is what we call hot or not. This looks like Joe Hartzell. I recognize the hat.
Okay.
He's winding up, aiming for the boat. There's the throw. There it goes. And it drifts south of the boat.
Want to remind those.
Krispy Kreme up high on the east side has thrown his marker off. It's going to drift way east of the landmass.
Want to remind those spectators and crew that are down here in the south end that may want to assist these pilots landing. Never, never, never get in front of a basket as it's coming toward you. These balloons are moving at some speed here on the ground. We saw a good example of that as crew jumped onto Sam Roby's basket to put weight on and stop the balloon, but do not get in front of the balloon. You want to get onto the side or preferably the back side of the basket to add weight because you can easily be mowed down and be injured by a basket coming at you with some speed. Most crew people will know that, but in case we have the odd spectator here that might suddenly think, oh, I'm going to help, do not get in front of a moving balloon. That looks like, is that, I'm trying to remember which Donner that is now. Is that Nick or Chase that flies the orange balloon? I believe that's Nick's balloon. The orange balloon with the white silver.
I don't remember which one, but
I'll see if how do I get out of one list into the other in this spouting page? How do I get back to the main page? Let's see if I can do that.
Go to any balloon. Just go to any balloon, you'll have the search back.
Oh, right, thank you, okay.
I don't believe he's airworthy any longer.
Thank you. Yeah, write down your observations and let us know.
So the other orange one, not the racer, but the other orange one with the black and white spiral is going to come right over the boat, but he's going to be very high up, but he's going to throw on the landmass. His marker is loose. This is one of those, you go for the safe score and attempt to get the landmass,
right,
as opposed to go for the much smaller, higher reward of the boat.
Well, the boat is high risk, high reward. If you get it, it's great. If you don't, it's not so good.
So going to come right down the road, this orange with the black and white racer. Getting ready to throw. This is banner 7-6. 7-6. There's the throw. Oh, just off the boat. Next one in will be the black, gold, and silver racer.
That should be Joe Zavada. I'm virtually certain of that.
He'll be too far west for the boat. but he should be able to get the marker on the landmass.
Yeah, that is Joe Zavada out of McAllen, Texas. The balloon is called Future Nostalgia.
He did not throw on the landmass. But he looks like he might go right over one of the islands. Yep, there's the marker out of his hand. And inside the island. So there's a good score.
All right. And I'm fairly certain that orange racer is Nick Donner. He's actually in our spotting app because he's flying the emoji balloon. But in competition, I think he's flying his racer. And because I think his brother Chase's balloon is more of a red major color, whereas Nick's is orange. So I'm virtually certain that's Nick, if memory serves me.
So look at this checkerboard racer coming in, kind of going almost straight south, but if you look to the east, the yellow regular shaped balloon with the diamond patterns, the spike patterns, definitely heading to the southeast. There's a throw from the racer inside the landmass, so that's good score there. And the yellow one throws outside the landmass.
One of the Hartzels coming at you again. He's climbing to change his position, and behind him is Ken Drawn in his racer, the yellow one with the red and blue stripes and the red and blue diamonds. So Ken Drawn out of Carolina is coming to the party.
And some repositioning by the Hartzell.
Now he's descending.
Yeah, he just did a quick up and come back down here just to try and get a little bit of push to the east.
Ken Drawn looks like he's getting a little west, actually, where he's at, just slightly above. He's between the Hartzell balloon and that other red, white, and blue one up above Ken. And I swear it looks like he's moving a little west. Not much, but a little.
Just a little.
So if Lucas and Joe have come by, that should be Red Hartzell.
He's going to have to wing that marker up. He goes for the landmass, and he's south of it.
Ken Drawn has definitely gotten a westerly push in that yellow racer with the red and blue interlocked diamonds and the red and blue stripes top and bottom. He absolutely has moved pretty well, gotten quite a good push to the west. But again, over to his right, toward the crowd, that white band with the red, white, and blue spiral checks, it's moving to the southeast, like you said. Ken's coming down now.
I was just going to point that out. The regular shaped ones seem to be moving more east. But yeah, Ken is coming down, and actually he still has just a little bit of to the east as well.
Well, you know, they have
He's
a larger...
taking the safe drop. He's dropping it on the landmass, and it's inside there.
All right, good score for Ken.
So good score for Ken.
Well, the round balloons, of course, you know, Art, have a larger mass that can capture the wind. The wind can grab them and move them easier than it can the racing-shaped balloons.
The red, white, and blue one coming in might, he had a little bit of east, and now all of a sudden he shifted west. There's definitely something here on the north end of this field that, depending on where you are, you may get pushed left, you may get pushed right. I haven't figured out exactly what changes and what makes one happen over the other one.
I don't know, but I think we're seeing, though, more of the round balloons, the traditional shaped balloons, are getting more of that southeast push. And again, it may be just because of the mass and the shape of the balloon that the wind can grab it and move it quicker.
So a throw from the racer with the black, white, and orange. Just watch that marker come down and land south of the landmass, right smack dab over the top of me. The balloon is, not the marker.
Okay.
The chain gang racer coming in as well.
That would be, well, their round balloon is called Unchained, Jonathan Wright. They have both a round balloon and a racer that look identical, so it's difficult sometimes, like the Hartzels, to tell which is which. I would think that's Jonathan, however, flying in the racing balloon.
And the regular shaped balloon is going to come right over the landmass here with the rainbow colors going around the balloon all the way up. Let's see what. I did not see a marker drop from there. I may have missed it.
Is there a search category for rainbow balloons?
No. He's going to throw. He's going to throw at the boat. That's why. There's the throw. No. And a little kiss as they come close to you.
Yeah, yeah. Can you tell, is that Jonathan in his racer? Just look for the hairdo.
I didn't get a chance to see as they came by.
Okay, all right. I would guess that it is, and I can't quite make it out. Go ahead.
My officials out here tell me that is Jonathan.
Yeah, I've got my binoculars on him now.
I have lots of extra help in spotting them out here.
Good, good. Yeah, I was going to say, I just had my binoculars on him long enough to see the mohawk hairdo and knew it was Jonathan.
Hey, Tom, do we need more people down on the south end, or you guys got it? I would say maybe a few more. We got.
You know, I haven't got my my wind reader up here with me, but it feels definitely like the wind is picking up. And I know we've got that weather station that we can dial up on your computer, but I'm not quite sure. Or do you have it sitting up here? Weather detail.
It should be. It should be sitting there.
Yep, you're right. And we've got 10 miles an hour out of the north-northeast right here on the tower, or on the rooftop studio.
That's the number on the left side?
Yes, yes, it is.
That's the left side?
Yes. Yep.
Sam, we do have 10 on the roof.
10 north-northeast on the roof.
So we have two racers going to split the sides of the landmass.
Yeah, in fact, I was just telling the truck.
Regular shape with the yellow. He's going to attempt to throw. That's going to end up down in the crowd, I guess. Almost over there.
Yeah, I was just telling the truck, Ken, our stage lights are beginning to rock in the wind here on the roof, so we're lowering those lights so they don't get blown over, but it's getting a little windy here. Yeah, in fact, Ken, we're also going to drop the backdrop on the set because the wind's catching that and beginning to rock the poles up here.
Okay. And yet, if you look high, you see all kinds of balloons not moving. It's just that lower level. Remember, It was quick above and it was going to come down. Now it's here.
What is the, Ken, what's the number on the right on this weather map? Weather reader.
The gust.
Okay, so we've got
gust.
So right now we've got 9 on the roof, gusting 11.
So I know our safety officials and balloon meisters are keeping a close eye on that. They're already in discussions about what to as they continue to watch that. The regular shaped balloon, big white equator with the waste management banner on it. It's going to come right over the center of the road. We'll see which he chooses, and the checkerboard racer dropping in front of him. He's actually got what appears to be a GoPro camera off the side of his basket.
Well,
decided not to throw on the boat.
Yeah, the round balloon, I think the waste management, the waste management balloon, the round one with the colored checkerboards, That is Jerry Kopus. And he does usually have a GoPro on a pole outside the basket.
No, the GoPro was on the racer.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen Jerry fly with one too, but that's Jerry Kopus in the round balloon.
Coming right down the road, which isn't quite the scoring pace.
And look at the racer, though. He's getting a little of that southeasterly push, while Jerry is going southwest. How does that work?
Yeah. It's magic. You know what? There's a little break in the action here. Can we come to the boat? So we can, we're going to get Tom to take a picture inside. So looking inside the boat here, we can see where those two markers are. One is going to be scored from basically right there. The other one will be scored from right there. So without looking, I'm not going to touch the banners because we have our scoring officials here. When they actually do the measurement, they're going to measure to the weighted part of those. So one is going to be about 3 feet closer to the bow of that boat, and that will be those are the two best scores. Then you have this one right here that is outside the boat. That will get measured to the center of the X as well, but they will add 300 feet to it. And then there's this one right here. Can we see this one right here, Tom? That's not even a marker. That was a glove that was thrown by one of the balloons, and there'll be a discussion about that when they get to the scoring as well.
And that's video that only Balloon Fiesta Live can bring you. We've never shown that before. We've never seen it in previous years of scoring and competition here at Fiesta, and great job by our remote crew down there. Good work, Art.
Thanks. We're going to step away from the boat because I see another balloon coming in. That appears to be Dave Eichhorn, Marauder's Mark, flying the Visit Albuquerque balloon.
And we're now we're running about 12, gusting 12, so about 12 miles an hour steady on the roof here.
Actually, on the field here, it feels like that really heavy gust is already starting to settle a little bit.
Yeah, we saw 12, and I saw a gust of 13. We're back down to 9 steady, but 9 gusting 12. So anywhere 9 to 12 miles an hour is what we're seeing pretty steady here on the roof.
That is indeed Dave Eichhorn in the yellow and orange. Again, with the round balloon getting that push off to the east.
And isn't he flying the banner for, is it Dunkin' Donuts he's flying the banner for?
No, Visit Albuquerque.
Visit Albuquerque, I'm sorry.
He's turning it around so you can see it.
It's just coming into view,
yeah.
yeah.
So you can see it.
Yep, I can see it now. So at least he knows where the camera is. He's getting right in front of your camera down there, Art, as well as ours here on the tower or on the roof.
He's getting a good cheer anyway as he comes by right over the crowd line. I don't know if you have a shot of it or not, but Guilty, the racer, the yellow racer with the black mustache,
yep,
probably not 5 minutes ago was west of the field, west and north, now is north and east of the field. So he found, Zarek Wells found a way to kind of move from one side of the field to the other, attempting to line up and I think follow some of those other patterns down. Hopefully because he's a racer, he won't get that push to the southeast as he comes in.
Yeah, I was watching Zarek a little earlier, and you're right. I had seen him when he was off to the northwest, and he is very definitely over on the east side of the field now. So he's covered quite a bit of distance up there.
Our scoring officials are now checking out that glove that we saw, that we pointed out to you a few moments ago, and having a discussion about that, and seeing what the deal is with that.
Usually there is a penalty for an unauthorized, or I forget the right term, but sort of an illegitimate marker, if you will. Look at the racer above you now, that rainbow spiral. Man, he just vented the top hard to get back down. Look how flaccid the throat of the balloon is.
Yeah, we're watching it. He's over the north edge of the field. He's got a nice descent coming in. It's quick, but he's got a nice descent coming in. Already putting heat in so that he doesn't come down so quickly that he can't stop it.
That is a balloon called Pixicle, and Alan Anderson is the pilot out of Minden, Nevada.
But here's a racer who's getting
the push. Yeah, we can see that very clearly. Wow.
He's ready to throw. There's his throw. Oh, it bounced on the fabric.
So he hit the shore and bounced into the water?
Let me check on, is the fabric hot or not? Sorry? Is the fabric hot? Does it count on the fabric? Yeah. So the fabric is hot, so if it stayed on the fabric and landed there, it will still be scored without that 300-foot penalty.
Yeah, so he hit the beach and went swimming.
Yeah, hope the tide doesn't come in.
And for the spectators in that area, as he's moving toward you, if he's landing there, please be very careful. He may go out beyond the spectators. I think he's going to cross over them, probably land directly behind the flagged area. So again, if you're in that area, do not get in front of that balloon. Absolutely stay away from the front of the balloon as it's coming toward you.
So we had a drop from very high with the yellow one and the orange and blue spirals, who's about to land on your end of the field. He dropped his marker from very high on the landmass, but it drifted south of it. So a score plus 300. Keeping my eye on Zarek and Guilty out there, the racer with the mustache. He's now descending, as are a couple of the full-size ones. Hey, Glenn, I can hear the chainsaws going from out here.
Oh, yeah? I can see the tents. That's all I can do. I can't hear the chainsaws. We do know they get started about 8 o'clock with their carving, and usually around 11 a.m., I believe, they do some raffles and maybe some auctions for some of the work that they've carved. If you're here this morning and have some time, it's worth your effort to go down and check out the chainsaw artists that are at work. That's in those 7 or 8 little pointy, actually there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6 little pointy top tents at the northeast corner of the field, down beyond that pylon there. That's where our chainsaw artists are at work, that Art is referencing.
And while we're waiting for more balloons to come in, our scoring team is getting to work on scoring all of the markers that have been dropped. Again, if you've just joined us or missed out on our explanation before, there's really 4 scoring areas out here. The big landmass, which is the first piece they come to from the north. Then there is the boat. Getting in the boat or on the bow of the boat is the next one. And then just south of the boat, there are 2 big islands that are set up, other pieces of fabric that you can drop on there. Now, if you miss any of those, you still get scored wherever your marker is from the center of that X. We just add 300 feet to that distance. So all the markers that we've seen drop inside this area are going to be scored. Just the ones in the boat are going to be the best scores. Next to that will be the ones in the landmass and on the islands. Those that are in just the other grassy area, they'll again be scored as well, but again, they'll have that 300 marker. There was just one dropped from somebody way up. I just saw it fall down on the south side here. Not sure who threw that one, but It'll be scored, but it's outside of the other land masses, so it'll have that 300-foot addition added to whatever the measurement is to the center of the X.
Well, but you know, Art, that on a multi-task event, a multi-day event like this, where we have competition 4 days out of the week, it's not always important to have the best score, but it's important to score on every task. So even those who are scoring today and getting a 300-foot penalty are going to have an advantage over, they've scored on day one. They'll have an advantage on other pilots who perhaps will score well on days 2, 3, and 4, but have a 0 score for today. So the penalty isn't that debilitating.
You're correct, and we have just set the smoke off here, and they're folding up the legs of the X. That means they have closed the target. They have closed the target, and so our scoring window is now closed, and any of the balloons that are still coming in will not be able to score.
Well, and that came a few minutes earlier, I think, than the original expansion to 9:15, and I feel certain that's probably a result of the increasing and steady wind speed that we're seeing, still showing a very constant 9, gusting 12 here on the rooftop.
Yes, I think so. There's our Tom getting a shot of the smoke. You can see it coming right into the camera once they get that shot.
Because I was about to say that we were coming up toward 9:15, still about 10 or 12 minutes left, which was originally going to be the end of the scoring zone. But so I think they popped smoke a little early, probably out of safety concerns.
So we do a couple of visuals, Glenn. Obviously the smoke, but the other thing is the idea that they've folded up the legs of the X, which is another visual. They fold up the 2, it basically becomes more of a V instead of an X. And so that's the other visual clue to all the pilots that the target is now closed, and we'll know anything dropped at this point, any markers dropped will not be scored. And actually, Tom, if you can move to the center of the X there, we can see all the tape measures that are going out from the center. They're going out to the land mass, a couple of them out, 3 of them out that way. They've got a couple of them going over to the islands, and they've got them going to the boat as well.
And we still have a number of balloons in the air. We'll still see balloons landing here on the field, I'm sure. So, again, if you're a spectator, please stay well outside the flagged area. And down here on the south end, particularly, pay attention, and the southeast corner, as pilots are probably going to continue to come down and try and land here. In fact, this Kubitschek, that is the black with the teal, purple, white, and gold checkers, is trying to drop down very hard. Got crew getting underneath the balloon to try and land it, hopefully before he gets into Corporate Village. Not sure he's going to make it, though. Nope, he's going to fly past.
So, Glenn, now the work really starts with the measuring of the baggies, and they're measuring one of these right here outside the leg of the X. Remember, that's going to be measured to the center of the X, but then they'll add 300 feet because it's outside. Can we swing around, Tom?
And they'll measure.
They're starting to check inside the boat.
And they'll measure, Art, I believe, to the closest point of the weighted part of the baggie. Is that not right?
That is correct. So let's just give them just a little bit of room, Tom, because they're going to bring that. They're going to bring that tape in from the center of the X.
Well, we can really hear the wind noise in your microphone down there, by the way.
Yeah, it just picked up again.
Yeah, we're at 11 on the rooftop now.
So we're just standing by here as they get ready to measure the markers on the inside of the boat. And of course, all of this gets verified and double checked before any of these become official. So we have Tammy Luna in the red jacket, who is our chief of scoring. And this is Harold, one of our scoring volunteers. tape level so you don't get any of that measurement from doing the up and down, etc. Using a plumb bob to be able to measure.
A plumb bob as opposed to a plumb George or a plumb Tom or
or a plumb Glen.
Yeah, well. So for all of his work, Zarek Wells is not going to get a score this morning. Guilty up there. An easy balloon to spot. Bright yellow with the mustache on the side and just up high above, right, probably the area right between the spectator line and Main Street.
So 16 feet 4 inches on one of the markers in the boat.
Excuse me. So the markers.
19-1.
The markers in the bow are still also measured to the center of the X. Is that right?
That is correct. So the bow, being the point of the boat, obviously is the closest point to the center of the X. So that would be the best score. These guys are actually in the boat, so they're a little off the bow, but they're still the closest to the center of the X.
Okay, gotcha.
So 2 markers in the boat, one at 16, one at about 19 feet.
And so we know that's Lucas Hartzell and Sean Rea. We just aren't saying which is which score, but definitely they will end up in first and second place after this morning's on this morning's task.
That is exactly it.
There's a
we'll
red.
Leave the suspense.
Yeah, till later. There's a red racer coming. It looks like not right at you, but coming down the center of the field, but just getting here too late.
Too late. Too late because the scoring area is closed. The targets are closed. No more scoring. They'll take a little more time to measure some of those baggies that are in the outer regions. As they're scattered around the scoring area, they'll be checking those out and measuring those, and then of course they get to reconcile all those scores. But I would like to just repeat something you said earlier. It's really important for the overall to be consistent among the 4 days of competition.
Yeah.
So all of those folks who got here and managed to drop those baggies, even if they end up with a 400, 500, 600 foot measurement and some number of scores, that's still better than those that didn't actually seem to make it here.
You're right, because at the end of the week, 4 so-so scores will still generally beat 3 really good scores. So it's not a matter of you don't have to win every task, but you want to score, as you say, you want to be consistent. You want to score on every task because, like we say, 4 scores that are mediocre are probably going to beat 3 good scores.
Yes, you're exactly right. Yeah, you'd have to have like 4 really, really bad scores against somebody with 3 really, really good ones.
Sure.
To balance that out. But yes, you're exactly right. The math adds up that consistency is the most important piece. And especially if you can throw, 1 really good score in there and 3 consistent ones, you're going to be right up there.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's literally, like you say, a case of being consistent. You want to score every task. You don't have to win every task, but you want to be in it. So that 300-foot penalty for being in the water that we were talking about sounded pretty, onerous, rather ominous even this morning.
Yeah.
But in light of things, as we've seen the number of pilots who didn't score today, it's not going to be that big. It's not going to be that bad. Certainly you'd rather have scored without the penalty.
There are a lot of balloons still in the sky that did not get here.
Absolutely. So you'd rather have a score without the penalty, but getting a score is more important this morning than necessarily, how good your score was.
So that's Eric Greenwood coming down the east side of the field. He already has the top out. I can see the light coming right through. So the idea is when you come down in a little bit windier conditions here, is to actually open the top, start letting that heat out so that when your balloon does hit the ground, the envelope tends to fall over instead of dragging you down the field. So a good job by Eric Greenwood landing that balloon on the east side of the field.
You're right, Art, because if you leave that top in when the balloon comes down, then you see it in high wind landings, the balloon envelope will become something of a spinnaker sail. And if you know anything about sailing, spinnakers are used to gain speed. They're fast sails that go up at the bow of the boat to capture the speed of the wind. And if your balloon does that, if it spinnakers, then you're in for an e-ticket ride in your little wicker basket. So you really want to get as much of the air out before you touch down in a high wind landing so the balloon will collapse as quickly as possible.
And when you are on the side on the side away from the sun, when that happens, you actually see the sun shining through the opening of that top. And so it was a nice view, and to actually watch Eric do that, it was just a great job doing that. We may see a few more of those come down here on the field as well.
Well, one of those out there just almost directly south of you in the racing balloon, the rainbow spiral balloon, that appears, if I'm reading the banner right, that would be Steve Lombardi in the R&S Power Sports racing balloon. Steve is a retired firefighter out of the Missouri City, Texas area, which is a suburb of Houston, and now makes his home with his wife Leilani up at more beautiful northeast Texas in the Canton, Texas area. Steve's one of those, one of many out here that's also.
There is another racer.
I was just going to add, Steve.
I was going to say that is indeed him.
Yeah, our delay is catching us. Yeah, Steve is one of those pilots who is also a balloonist who's also a fixed-wing pilot. Now, go ahead, Art. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say there's a very similar-looking racer that's coming in, going to be over the crowd before Steve gets here with the RNS. Can you imagine being up there, being one of those guys up there, and seeing the smoke, seeing the legs of the X folded in and saying, man, I was going to nail that. I was right on target. I had the line today.
And that's their story, and they're sticking to it. Because you know what I know.
Steve is going to have that story.
Well, but you and I know, as getting down to the target and scoring is a whole lot different than being up there saying, oh, yeah, I was going to kill it. Yeah, I was going to nail it.
But that's the way you come up with those stories. That's the way you handle this.
Yeah, the other popular stories, in ballooning as well. I was there, and then the left went away. You couldn't get that left-hand turn at the last minute that you needed. Everybody else got it, but it went away when you got there.
Exactly. We've heard that too often as well.
And just so you understand, ladies and gentlemen, you understand the significance of that. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, when we're down low, typically to fly a balloon, if you need left, you go low because of the way that the wind circulates in the Northern Hemisphere. And if you need right, you go high. It's a rule of thumb. It isn't always true, but generally speaking, if you go low, you're going to turn left. If you go high, you're going to turn right. And so that's why we always say you go low, because you always want to come in at a target as low as you possibly can to get the most accurate drop. And so that's why you'll hear a lot of times pilots say, well, the left went away, meaning they went down low to get to the target, and the left-hand turn that was going to take them there was no longer there.
So here comes Steve.
Yeah.
He's going to throw it anyway. So see, he has the story. I had the line.
Yeah, he did.
I had it.
He had it.
He closed it too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, he had it, and he'll tell that story for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, Steve's a past champion here, so, he knows what it takes to win this event. And you're right, he had the line, he just needed to be here sooner.
I could have stepped over there, and he could have just thrown it to me, and I could have dropped it in there for him.
Yeah, just carry it over for him.
So we're still having markers dropped. The one with the pennants, the blue checkerboard with the orange and yellow, actually dropped a marker over here. Scoring officials will go pick it up, mark down that it was dropped outside the scoring hours, and so it will not be scored. But they'll pick up the marker and retrieve it for him.
Well, for those pilots still in the air, the best thing that they can see now is this big green field as a landing zone so that they can get down out of these winds and back onto Mother Earth safely. And having a nice big green grass field in front of them to do that is always a very welcoming sight.
Well, you saw Steve do that, come in here. He went ahead, and they were telling that it was closed. I heard him say, yeah, I know it's closed, I know it, but he was going to throw it anyway just to kind of see if that he had the line. And then he almost immediately put his balloon down, did another one of those. I'm just about on the ground. I'm pulling the top out. The basket hits. The envelope lays over. No drag. Great higher wind landing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always been surprised when I've watched other pilots do high wind landings, and they come skimming in down along grass level, and they never, ever, ever pull the top. You know, they wait until the balloon hits the ground, and you're sitting there, like you were saying earlier, when you're telling the pilots, drop it, drop it, drop it. I'm sitting there saying, rip it out, pull the top, vent it. What are you doing? And it's just crazy. There's a skill to doing a good high wind landing, and we've seen several of them this morning.
We have. So, Glenn, let's start wrapping this morning up here just a little bit.
Okay.
This concludes our flying and our scheduled events here at Balloon Fiesta Park today. Tomorrow morning, we have another morning of competition. We won't do the Sid Cutter because we did it today, but we'll have X's or triangles or some other competition set up here on the field. And the idea is, just like today, we'll have a little Dawn Patrol show and then an unofficial Dawn Patrol show. Then we'll take about half the balloons and they'll inflate here from the field and fly away, just like this morning. And then, just like this morning again, the other half will go find a spot and attempt to fly into the field, dropping their markers on the X's or the triangles or whatever targets we set out tomorrow morning. So today, it's going to be a repeat tomorrow of basically what we did today, just without the boat. Wednesday, then, we have another mass ascension with our Flight of the Nations. And then Thursday and Friday, we're back to 2 sessions per day. It's special shape days. In the morning, we call them rodeos because we stand up the special shapes. Many of them will fly away. Our competitors and some of those fun flyers that have taken off from here today and will take off from here tomorrow will join the ones flying in because we, in addition to the overall competition, we'll set 5 poles up. 25-foot poles we'll set up here on the field, and they will have a 12-inch plastic ring that they will attempt to ring the pole with. And there will be most likely cash prizes available on those poles. So in addition to the overall targets, the pilots will have an opportunity to win cash on Thursday and Friday mornings. That's kind of where key grab has evolved to. A lot of people know about key grab when we used to put keys to new cars, new vehicles on the top of a pole. Now we ring the pole and you win prizes and cash from there. Now, Thursday and Friday afternoons, it's our Special Shapes Glotios as we continue on with our Special Shapes Thursday and Friday. And that is a balloon glow with just our special shapes. Again, that's Thursday and Friday night. Don't forget, on all of our glow nights, Fast Tracks brings the flag in at 5 o'clock. They do fireworks in the sky at 7:30, and we have our afterglow fireworks right after Fast Tracks comes in with their pyrotechnic jump. Then, gosh, hard to believe, we're already back to the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, mass ascensions in the morning, and a final balloon glow on Saturday night we call Night Magic. So still a great number of days of fantastic action. The weather seems to be continuing to hold. The forecast looks good for the rest of the week. So we're going to look forward to be bringing you each and every one of those sessions here at Balloon Fiesta.
So did you want me to join you on that wrap-up, or are you just going to handle that by yourself?
Well, I figured I got through the events. You could talk about where we are.
Well, where we are is it's the end of the morning on Monday morning. And, yeah, for those who are familiar with the Fiesta operation, the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, of course, we were doing 2-a-days where we had morning and evening events. Now for the next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as you just so accurately pointed out, we do not have any evening events. So a little time off for the pilots and crew to do some socializing, to do a little tourism and sightseeing here around the Albuquerque area, take in some of the other sights and sounds beyond what you see here on the balloon field. For spectators, this morning, a great time to go over and see our various vendors and food vendors, both merchandise and food, over on the main street. You can never shop too early at Balloon Fiesta because eventually all the good stuff does sell out. So the theory of waiting till the end of the week and finding bargains doesn't really apply here. And we have some great vendors that many of both of our reporters, Kim and Ruth, have shown us. Of the Alpaca Connection, by the way. We know that Arizona Tube Art is here again this year. Some wonderful folks. I'm sure Discover Balloons is probably here with their setup. Diane Carlson has Play-Doh pins. If you're into the pin collecting, go by and check out their booth. Just all sorts of things to see, do, buy, and eat and drink over on our main street, which is the concession row area. You can also go down, we talked earlier about the chainsaw artists that are at work in those small little pointy top tents on the northeast corner of the field. I always have to kind of pause to get my directions right. And they'll be raffling off some of their creations probably about 11 o'clock this morning if you're going to stay out at tailgate with us. So there's still lots to see and do, although the flying part of the day is pretty much come to an end. A few more landings here on the field, so don't get complacent about balloons that might be coming in, but generally the flying event is over and time to do a little shopping and maybe a little partying, a little tailgating.
And of course, if you still have me there, am I still on?
You're still there, keep going. You're good, Art, go ahead.
Okay, I think we're still there. IFB connection here. But I wanted to do a shout out to our, as well as our folks that are watching on 20.2. Again, this show will be repeated on those loops shortly and as we go through things. And if you've been watching us online, the show will be live, will be recorded and available on demand there as well. So exciting Sid Cutter activity today, and you'll be able to go back and re-watch that as our shows repeat and are available on demand as well.
So ladies and gentlemen, I think that will wrap it up for the morning, and we do appreciate all of you being out here with us. Thank you so much to all of our international viewers from around the world and around the United States. It's always good to have you with us on our live feed. As Art was saying, we're available on balloonfiesta.com. We're on the TV stations here locally that he mentioned. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. You can join us on all of those sources. We will be back with the next edition of Balloon Fiesta Live at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning as we have no evening event tonight. So enjoy the evening off, and we will see you back bright and early tomorrow morning. Thanks to all our pilots and crew for a good, safe flight, for our officials for keeping us on the straight and narrow, and also to our great crack production team for helping us make it through this morning. We hope you've enjoyed the show. So for Art Lloyd Jr., I'm Glen Moyer. This is Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. Good day, everybody.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by ExxonMobil. Always in October and always in Albuquerque. The Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is the world's premier ballooning event. Make plans now to join us in person in 2022 for the Big 5-0, the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live. This program is a production of AIBF Inc.